Jacob. So
this dude showing up with a freaking 10
There's
ton.
so much, and even if we had more, I don't think it.
oh my god.
Vaughn getting just does a burn.
No, that is that
Oh,
Vaughn?
no, I like this.
You also have gigantic hands.
In that car right now. We didn't fly all the ways here to watch you walk around in a sling.
All right, Seattle. I'm ready. Are you ready? You thought, like, do you have your hat? I'm just kidding. This isn't a hat ad. This is save $5 before you get to Seattle. If you don't have your tickets yet, use OZSEA at checkout. Save $5 on your tickets. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Outerzone, the official podcast of Formula Drift. My name is Jacob Gettens, and if you have only been in the sport for the last couple of years, you may not know this man, but if you've been following the sport for a very long time, no offense, you'll realize who I'm sitting with, but this is kind of the man who brought Irish drifting to the U.S. and in a lot of ways started Irish drifting, but Darren McNamara. So how are you doing?
Thank you for the introduction. Make me feel old.
I try.
I'm good, yeah. I don't know about started Irish drifting, but certainly my journey took me to the US quite early, and a bit of a fairy tale one. So it's a good story, not that well told. So I think it's a good one to start on. It's
I'd love to know. Like, I mean, what I had heard, and we can you can elaborate or expand on it at any point, but. You had kind of started drifting within Ireland, particularly kind of in the area we're in now, which is about an hour north of Cork, a little bit outside Mallow, with a bunch of friends, and that's where things kicked off and started running some competitions here, and that's what brought in a lot of the drivers that we know now. Is you and a bunch of buddies that kicked that off, and then they started being introduced to it, and next thing you know, we've kind of got this Irish invasion that's hitting the sport pretty heavily, especially right
since,
now.
Yeah. It was my brother really that started organising the events.
Okay.
For us to take part in. So I would have had a A86 as a street car. That's it right there.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah, when I was 16 I bought that one. Red over black Corolla. And we got hold of some DVDs, Drifting Gaku and stuff from eBay at the time. eBay was actually quite new, which makes me feel even more old. And got them delivered, and guys were doing these crazy things, and I'm like, oh, I have one of those cars, I'm going to do this. Because we had a huge background with rallying and racing cars all the time, so the sideways thing wasn't new to us at all, as you know from Irish rallying, I'm sure. And it went from there. My brother started organising the events, we started taking part, and just got the hang of it really quick, and I was racing cars since I was like 11, so... more of a, I was really comfortable in packs. I was doing oval racing since I was 11. So I was much more comfortable with the two-car tandem than most of my competitors were, which were just kind of, guys rear-wheel drive.
Sorry to interrupt that.
No, all good.
It's just one of those, like, you always second guess. It's like locking the door in the shop.
Yeah.
You're like, shit, did I actually lock it? But
so that's how we got into it. It evolved from there. 2005, I started to build that car properly. 2006, I won the Irish Championship. And in 2006, there was the D1 events in Silverstone and stuff.
Right.
So I won the driver's search there. There was Kindamore and people like that. Kazama, Suchiya, people like that, all there. And I won that. And then... the prize at the time was from the UK. There was a D1 UK championship, which never really took off that great. And there was a prize for the winner of that to go to Arundel. And I did like 1 or 2 rounds maybe of the championship. I didn't do the whole thing. And I remember it so well. I was sitting down playing the PlayStation one night as a 19-year-old, I think. And my phone rang, and it was the longest number I had ever seen, being an Irish guy, a load of area codes on it and stuff. And it was D1 Japan asking if I was going to Arundel. And I said, no. Why would I be going to, how would I be going to Arundel?
Yeah.
Why would I be going to? And they said, if we pay, will you go to Arundel? And as a 19-year-old, I mean, all your Christmases came together. And the obvious answer was yes. So that happened. Caused me a load of conflict with the British guys. They absolutely hated me.
really?
Oh my God. It's like the abuse was incredible. And as a 19-year-old, that was quite a lot of abuse in a time when drifting was growing and not that big, or we were a smaller community, and it really put a divide between us Irish guys and the UK guys, and it was nasty. There was a couple of ringleaders from it. It wasn't a good thing. The kind of online shit that you see all
This would have been like forum days, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So there was a big gang there that weren't happy because I stole apparently the championship prize or whatever. And that wasn't the story at all. They still took the UK guys.
Yeah.
But they didn't bring their cars. They gave them cars to drive. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
that was one of those things, and I'll just never forget it. But I didn't give a shit anyway. Bunch of idiots. So yeah, we went to Irwindale then, and no one kind of knew us, and I was actually driving for Hankook that time. Or Hankook was my tyre sponsor. And Hankook Ireland, we'll say, they put a deal together with Hankook USA for me to have the tyres when I got there.
Okay.
So I got there, went to LA, first time ever, rented a red Mustang convertible, as you do. First time in America, yeah, V6, I think. Terrible car. A terrible car. And got to Irwindale, just surreal experience as a 19-year-old. And there was my Corolla and my little pallet with my toolbox and my jerry can. And I went to get tyres, and Hankook USA said, never heard of you.
Oh, no way.
I swear to God, yeah.
Oh, great way to start it.
So yeah, we were sitting there, and my brother and another guy were in Irwindale watching the year before, and they had met JR. So they went up to JR and said, is there any chance that we can buy tyres? So he introduced me to, it was Mickey Andre at that time, do you know, from Trottle now?
Yeah.
Mickey was running the team that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. All these,
Yeah, damn,
all these names keep coming
Come
up.
back around, yeah.
Yeah. So Mickey was running the team. Great guy, Mickey. I love Mickey. So he said, yeah, we can buy them. So we put all of my parents' money, all of my money, it was like $1,000, and we bought 16 tyres. And it was actually Jay Brad, you know, Jonathan Bradford.
Yeah.
Who became the manager of the team.
Yeah.
He was an intern at the time, and Mickey sent him back to the Falken warehouse in Fontana to pick up 16 tyres for an unknown Irish guy. He was not happy. And he brought the tyres back. He became my boss then afterwards as well. He brought the tyres back, and then we'd take off the Hankook stickers, we'd put on Falken stickers, and we went out then, did D1. I beat all the Americans and everything. We finished 5th on the first day, I think. Mm-hmm. We finished 6th on the second day. And then I signed a contract with Falken to do FD 07, which I won the Rookie of the Year that year.
Yep.
But then D1 were pissed because I did FD and they were doing D1 USA.
Right.
So then they wouldn't let me into Irwindale the next time I went. They wouldn't let me in the gate. It's crazy, all this politics from different sides.
Yeah.
But good story. All of our money, we had no money left, but only for the likes of JR, Mickey, J. Brad, all that started the thing. And I have to say as well, you know, home-built car here, it was built right up there.
Okay.
Home-built car, it went out 2 days in a row, never missed a beat. You know, it was a good time. We had to perform too when the pressure came on, you know. Mm-hmm. So it was an amazing experience, crazy. And then we signed the contract and we were there for 8 years.
Yeah.
Good times.
And did quite well over those 8 years. I know the championship eluded you, but I managed to pull some stats before. You had a 60% win rate, 9 podiums, and at least one perfect event. I think it was Wall.
Seattle, I think.
Was this Seattle? I think I had Wall pulled up. I could check the stats after.
Yeah, it was
but
Seattle, I think.
I mean, that's especially given the competition over those years and how much the sport developed over that period of time. Like, I'm not saying it's stalled at this point, but like the speed of development from 07 to 14 was nuts. Like, just it seemed like every year something big was coming out, a driver or a big team was coming in, and the game kind of changed probably 4 or 5 times in a very, very short period of time.
Yeah, once we did the first year 07 with the Corolla, and then I did Long Beach and didn't qualify, would you believe, after all that and all the travelling back and forth and all the stuff with Falken, and the car became blue and teal. It's right over there, out the shot. You can see it.
Yeah.
and went over, and I wouldn't say, not lacking in confidence as a 19-year-old or whatever. I knew from Arundel that I could do the business, and there wasn't, I knew I could beat him. As you have to have that self-confidence.
You have to drive that way.
Yeah, you have to. If you're not like that, forget about it. And then not to qualify was a big thing. If you ask me, I should have qualified. I think I did enough to do it, but every driver's going to say that. But it maybe took a little bit to adjust to the judging or whatever. You know what they say. But then the second event, with the same judging, I finished second overall. So it's, the same. That was my start of, that was Atlanta, was the second event as well.
Yeah.
Unbelievable record there. I think a podium there nearly every year. Just love that track. But that momentum then led us into proper talks, and that's when the Saturn Sky came about, and that was the first, we'll say, sprint car engine, 4-speed dog box quick change rear end. That was the first ever drift car with those, but it was the beginning of that sprint car dog box quick change.
It set a precedent for what there. I mean, it's still there. Yeah, we're still seeing that same combo in so many cars now.
Yeah, it's the best combo still. Yeah. So that was started with ASD that time. So they were brought in to build the car, and then they built 2 or 3 cars, and
with Ian and all those guys back then.
Yeah, and back to that was Falken were really on top, pushing hard for it. But it's bittersweet looking back at it. As you said, the championship eluded us. We should have won it. Bit of luck here and there, whatever, you make your own luck. It was great times. Falken was amazing experience and all that, but it wasn't, for me, not to criticize, but it's not a race team, it's a tire brand. So progress was slow on stuff. It took a lot of time for changes to be implemented in the car, the dynamics of the car, product changes, bits and pieces. It took a lot of time. It had to go through a lot of people before you got a yes. So it wasn't able to react like you would like a race, or like a race team should react.
Yeah, it should be even at the event. You should be making changes or getting ready for the next event.
So like many times you ended up coming to the next event with the same thing. Not that there was anything wrong with it, but just development-wise, it wasn't moving along as you would have liked, which is, a regrettable thing. If you look at, for me, obviously, the pinnacle is always maybe Papadakis, and what he does and how quickly they can move, being a smaller outfit and stuff. And Falken at that time when we started, I think we had 10 cars and 2 or 3 trucks. And I think they were doing it, obviously, a great job marketing-wise, and they had something to appeal to everyone. Yeah. So they had a bit of JDM, a bit of American. They had everything.
It was a good spectrum of cars and drivers.
They had a Japanese person, an Irish guy.
American,
they had everything. Yeah. And they really appealed to someone somewhere. Someone was going to buy a T-shirt or something.
Yeah, or even the tires themselves.
Yeah, so that was how it was done. But it was a difficult thing. It's only in later years that it streamlined down to a few, we'll say, top guys with, top cars and stuff. But it still was a slow-moving snowball, we'll say. Mm-hmm. Not like a race team, which is the only thing that I could say. If that is a negative, it was the only thing that I could say. Mm-hmm. At the time, we weren't reacting like other teams were reacting. Yeah. Which is the only regrettable thing. The rest of it is amazing, of course. They paid for everything, huge team, and we had a person for doing everything. It was the dream job. It's hard for me to criticize if
no, but if in hindsight, you can always look back and say, if we would have been able to update equipment or maybe move some budget into a new place to get something fixed or developed or, wasn't breaking all the time. Because
that was the thing,
Yeah.
But
would have been a lot of CVs.
I don't look back on it like, much.
No.
That was it. It was a moment in time. We did what we did. It's hindsight is 2020.
2020,
so, it was a great time, brilliant time in my life.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it wasn't a time where I was a fan of drifting, so it's kind of neat for me. Really, my big knowledge base is like 2015 and on. That's like when I was really deep into the sport. Well, yeah, basically. I mean, I kind of caught the tail end of it. A little. I mean, 2014, I started watching, but it was like, when I really, really dove into the sport, my knowledge base kind of starts at 2015. But the more interviews I do, the more people I talk to. Like I just did one with Tony Angelo, so I kind of got like a lot of those really, really early days as well. And I think it's kind of neat how the sport has had this like ebb and flow throughout the years, because the amount of money that seemed to be going on during that era, the big Falken era, Dodge coming in and doing all this stuff with Sam, exactly. Yeah. it was wild. And then we kind of had a bit of a come down, and a lot of it's just economic, is what it felt like.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest disappointments I have with it. Is I remember sitting there on the bank in Wall, actually, of all places, which isn't the sexiest place to be talking about. You know, it was just a brilliant drift track. I think it's missing off the calendar big time.
Yeah,
you know, it's so entertaining, great crowd. But I mean,
you're packed in there. You can feel the energy of it. Yeah.
But you know, as a facility, you
not
wouldn't be
amazing.
surprised if the bleach just fell down. You know, that kind of way. But I remember sitting there myself, Tanner, Faust, Sam Hubinet, Reese Millen. We were sitting watching, and I was very young, and they were way. You know, well, I guess Tanner isn't that old, but the guys were much more senior. Is what I'm trying to get at. Especially Reese and Sam. They'd seen it all, done it all, and. Just looking at them, and they were the benchmark for me when I was that kid. And the fact that they were there, and Dodge, as you mentioned, and GM and Falken and all the tire companies and all, you're like, oh, this is going big places. This is going somewhere, and I want to be part of it. When they started to leave, that for me was the kind of the bad sign, the writing on the wall there that, okay, the manufacturer support isn't going to come. It's going to actually maybe dwindle. And it took a long time for someone like Ford and Toyota to get involved again after that. Mm-hmm. When they left for World Rallycross, as they saw that to be the next big thing with ESPN and stuff.
Yeah.
Which was obvious from a sponsor point of view or whatever. But that was a bad thing. I think we should have, the drifting should have got that ESPN deal. It should have gone that way.
Yeah.
And it needed to keep those guys. They were big time guys, It
was a weird time though in like entertainment, because things like paintball were massively on the rise. Like the X Games were absolutely exploding at that point. I don't know if you remember like slam ball. Like it was all these like really, it was basically basketball with trampolines.
Right.
It was actually really cool to watch.
Yeah,
but
I've seen it, I think.
That era was like everything was pointed towards what is the next craziest thing.
Yeah.
And I felt like we moved through, like as a society, we just moved through entertainment really quick, trying to figure out like what's the next big, crazy, exciting thing. And, monster trucks were massive at that time as well. We were watching roller derby on TV. I look back at that era and go like, we forgot about all these things really quick. And I think drifting maybe was part of that, where it was so extreme. And then they're like, okay, what's next? And to me,
is much of that stuff still around? Whereas
no,
drifting
it's not.
is,
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Is like companies just moved around to whatever the
fads.
next exciting thing was.
Yeah.
But, paintball's still around, obviously. I don't think slam ball's around, but it's just drifting to me sort of weathered that storm and got through it and found a different way to survive.
Well, I always looked at it like, because the Rallycross went to X Games,
Yeah.
And I always looked at it, I could never figure out how they were going to put this format live for 75 minutes on ESPN,
Or in a stadium and all that stuff. Like how do you get the people in?
That's my biggest issue with drifting, and especially with an American crowd. I think, there would be, it needs to be instant, it needs to be on the money, it needs to be fast, it needs, and even modern people, kids and stuff, the attention span isn't there to wait around for 30 seconds of drifting, it needs to be constant, and drifting in the format that is currently ran is undefinable in time.
Yeah, it's really
just
tough.
Not.
Yeah.
So if ESPN go, right, you were live for 60 minutes on ESPN at 8 p.m., well,
how do you do that?
they ain't going to see nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue like baseball and football have a similar format to drifting, where it's like a bunch of action and then a bunch of review, and then a bunch of action and then like commentary and review. So I think it fits into that. But once again, baseball traditionally has a pretty standard runtime, even though we're kind of basing on outs. Football as well. It's a rundown clock. I don't know. It's tough. You would have to get rid of a lot of stuff. You'd have to get rid of one more times. You'd have to get rid of, the 5-minute timeout. We were kind of chatting about that. The whole ethos from that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, you would have to get rid of all those things, and then it becomes is this event for the drivers or is this event for the show? Like, what's it for? Is it? Because to me, a 5-minute timeout is for drivers. It has no benefit to the fans.
I think drifting has to be for the show.
Yeah.
And until we follow that format, that it's all about the fans, we won't know where that format takes us,
Yeah, that's fair.
We need to follow that a little bit. Okay, some series, if the bums aren't on seats, you have a drivers' championship. If you have the Mazda MX-5 trophy and there's one person in the stand, it's for the drivers.
Right. There's a lot of Ferrari stuff, like the Porsche Cup stuff. There's people there, but not at the same way.
No.
Even a drifting event is.
Yeah, drifting can pack as you see Mondello, 10,000 people into two corners, you know,
Yeah.
it's for the fans.
Exactly.
It needs to happen right now, lickety split.
Yeah.
And if the driver's upset, well, then forget, you know, it doesn't matter. It's about the people watching. It is entertainment. It's not really a motorsport. We can argue all we want, but it isn't. You know, if you cross
It's
the
a
line.
sport with motors. It's not a motorsport.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is entertainment. So the people must go home entertained. If they do, they'll come back. You know, and that is the biggest gripe that I have with it. It gets caught in between, and it takes all day, and it can't. If, in my opinion, if it wants to progress and wants to, you see, like Poland in the stadium and stuff. It's, you know, silence is deafening at that point.
Yeah.
A minute for the judging, just like we'll say VAR in football. I don't know, you know, soccer, or
Yeah,
whatever. You know, a minute for the ref is nothing, but for the crowd, it's a lifetime. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's the problem. When you're so busy as a judge and you want to get the decision right, next thing 3 minutes have passed and you just switch off. Like the fans just switch off. It needs to be a machine gun pace to keep it going, you know. And
Yeah.
if that means disqualifications instead of competition timeouts, then so be it.
Yeah.
This competition timeout thing is such a variable. I hate it. I just hate it. And
It is for the drivers. Like, and maybe that's what needs to happen is not, I wouldn't say not caring about the drivers as much, but like saying or convincing them that like, hey, in order for this to get bigger, something's got to give, and it can either be the fans or it can be you guys, and we you know,
Yeah.
without being a dick, but like there's a lineup of drivers ready to come in.
there is, and you don't know the next generation of drivers that, you know, will come along because of the format being better or seeing it or you
more
know.
money because the show is faster and tighter and more advertisable.
Well, I think if you're doing a sport, it must be aimed towards being on television. Like it's always been the model.
Yeah.
You know, to get on TV, and if something takes 5 hours, it ain't getting on TV. You know.
Yeah, I mean, FD recently they've made basically just the top 16 a TV model. It's on a satellite channel, and I think that's helped. But as you said, if until it's on an ESPN or like a big major network,
Yeah.
it's going to be a little bit tougher. Although you could argue more and more kids cut the cord every day. You know, I had satellite for 2 months in my entire life,
Yeah.
or as an adult life. I mean, as a kid we had cable, but yeah.
Well, in my time, it was to be made for TV. You know,
Yeah.
I still laugh at. We had a meeting one time in Falken, hand us over these new handheld cameras, and Jesus, that makes me sound old. What are we
Yeah,
on?
they're coming back, man.
What are we on now? GoPro 13 or something? But this was
Yeah.
pre-GoPro, and they handed over these things, and you almost had to wind it up. It was like, what am I supposed to do with this thing? And it's incredible in such a short space of time how far we have come. And fair enough, now you can move away from TV and stream and go on all sorts of different, you know, little networks that do all sorts of niche things.
Yeah.
But back then, you wanted to be on ESPN or something. You know, that was the model. Like you wanted to be on it. So if it moved in and kept those kind of superstars that I talked about, I really thought that it was going to move to the next level. Whereas I don't know where it stands now. It really is hardcore fan thing to sit down and get through.
Yeah, 3-4 hours.
The top drifting.
Yeah.
Like I knew I was coming on this, so I did a little experiment while I was thinking about it. But like top 32 in New Jersey was like 2 hours 40 minutes, I think, something like that. And there was like total of 16 minutes of drifting, which is, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know what like a American football match has for actual action.
Yeah, but no one watches that, only Americans.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's fair.
it's not a global
That's
sport.
fair.
You know what
That's
I mean?
fair.
I mean,
Yeah.
who watches the World Cup and it's going to take an hour and a half and there's a 15-minute stop, and you know, if it's 0-0, it goes to extra time and then it goes to penalties and there's a winner. You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, you can go to the pub for 2 hours and you can watch it and you can go home or whatever.
It's easily consumable.
It is consumable, and you know when it starts and you know when this player is playing, and you know.
Do you think it just gets cut down to 16 then? Because to me, that's the only way
it
to.
doesn't have to. There can be preliminary situation, like, there's prelims in all sorts of sports
Yeah.
before it gets to the pay-per-view, so to speak. So it doesn't have to. It's almost going to be, I mean, the way it's going, it'll have to be an 8, never mind a 16. If it's going to be condensed into something, everyone needs to be ready to go. But, like, drifting is 2 cars. It's a 2-car sport,
Yeah.
Like qualifying or practice single car runs, it's not entertaining. Like the best single car run, take Peter's 99 from the weekend
Yeah.
or whatever. Like,
Phenomenal. But
Phenomenal.
We got one of those.
but how many thousands of people are going to watch that one car. You know, it needs to be two
Yeah.
cars. You need the drama, you need the peril, you need the crashes, you need this kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean F1. Like I'm a big F1 fan, and like I'll watch almost every practice. But I'm also probably the 1% of fans.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'm not the masses.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people who are watching F1 tune into the Grand Prix on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, they'll watch it. They'll probably half watch it. You know,
Yeah.
they'll have it on. They're playing on their phone. They're chatting with somebody.
Yes, exactly.
And then it gets down to the last 5 laps, and they're like, "Oh, okay, what's going on? Oh, okay, you know."
I'm
same
with you.
way.
I love the technicalities of the cars and all that,
Yeah.
you know, and knowing what's going on with them. I love MotoGP. I watch all the MotoGP practice.
Okay.
It's incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
But we're not, you know, we're not going to pay those bills. We're not going to go. It's about, you know, the casual person that wants to take their family or whatever to see this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take all day. It's on. The race starts, 70 laps, it's done. The first fella past the line wins.
Yeah.
Drifting is, you need to educate yourself a little bit in drifting to know what's going on, which is a problem. And then it's hard to be a casual fan. You can
It's a
down
tough
for 5
sport to
hours.
understand too.
It
There's
is.
so many things going on, and there's not like a good graphic representation of this person gets
And
across
I think
the line.
we get caught up in knowing everything about it, and then
Yeah.
we create another rule for what's just happened, and all of a sudden the rule book is that thick, and knowing that you lose
Yeah.
the casual fan because they haven't a clue what's going on, and you wouldn't blame them. It is
Yeah.
it's like me and you watching synchronized swimming. We haven't a clue what's
No,
going on. You know,
no, it looks cool.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Fair play.
but and then you find out they did terrible, and you're like, I have
we
no idea why.
we haven't a clue what's going on. But I don't know. I would always prefer it to be for the masses, you know?
Yeah.
To dumb it down and
And that's where the money would come in. Is if
I
it's
would
to
hope
the
so.
masses. Yeah.
I would hope so. I think that would be a better model than it being this niche thing. Because you know, import drag racing and all that. It all dies in the end if it's such a niche thing. It all has its spike, and
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, what is this? You know, it's comparable to American football or cricket for us. You know, this is on all.
I haven't watched cricket.
Well, it's
It's
terrible. You know, it's a British sport. It's nothing to do with Ireland, but it's just on.
Hurling looks cool,
It could
though.
actually be on for days. Cricket, like
Yeah,
days.
I've heard that.
So I don't know
I
what
mean,
they're doing for days.
In theory, baseball could as well. They've sped it up. They've sped up
Sure.
baseball a lot, but
Yeah.
hurling looks cool. I haven't actually sat down to really
That
watch a
is
ton of
like
it.
a million miles an hour. Yeah,
It's super fast. Yeah, it
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of ice hockey.
It
That's
is
why
your-
I was
it-
like, okay,
Is your
this is cool.
hockey with grass and sticks?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real Irish sport. Like back in the day, you could see it being played in black and white with guys.
Really? Okay.
Beating the shit out of each other. Can I say that?
Yeah, you already did. Don't worry about it. I swear. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, no, it's a real man's sport. I don't follow it. I never got into the kind of Irish Gaelic games, and I played a little bit when I was a kid. But
I
when
think every kid did.
cars took over, my dad used to race cars since I was like nothing. So
Yeah.
just cars took over for me. I lost touch with all of it.
Do you feel like being raised in motorsports, like it's just all you know? So it's not even an obligation to go. It's all you know. So it's like, well, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, there's a lot in breeding. I think
Yeah.
you see it in every walk of life. It's all you know. It becomes your passion. It can become your job very quickly, and it's fairly obvious that I was going to head that way. I think I was always mad for cars. My dad had a world of Mark II Escorts when I was a kid, and I was just living in them.
It's a sick car.
Oh, great car,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm so pissed off he didn't keep any. I remind him a lot, but
Every time I see it.
they're so expensive though. It's
You see like the photos on the wall, you like could have kept that one.
yeah,
That would
yeah,
have
yeah.
been fun.
Those photos of me like in the engines and everything when I was like 4 or 5 or whatever. So it's like
Wow.
It was a great. We have like an off-road grass track kind of thing. When I was younger, it was really popular. You used to go from like village to village, and they used to like get a field from a farmer,
Yeah.
and they'd set up an oval course and they'd race. But like you're talking, 10, 20 Mark II Escorts in the top class, 2 liter NA kind of rally car specs, and it's just sideways just from.
From the speed of trying to carry momentum.
But I mean, sideways from when I was in nappies,
Yeah.
I remember sitting on he used to go test the car in like a local farmer's field, and I got to sit and steer. And it's just been sideways ever since, So it's definitely in the breeding.
It's been fun to understand why Ireland has produced such good drivers, and I've had theories. I mean, James disproved one the other day because as we were talking about driving through Dublin, and even driving through the back roads and stuff. My thought coming here, I was like, oh, a lot of it is just due to you guys, driving these roads all the time. And then James brought up a good point where he's like, yeah, but we were all great drivers well before we ever got a license.
Yeah.
And he points to the fields as well as like, that's where you went. They'd mow the field down, the bales would go up, and you knew that was the perfect time to go out and, Jack was saying splitting bales. You'd see a set and you're like, I think I can fit the car through. And you look at it once and then drive through, and you talking about the circle tracks being built in there, that seems to be it. It's just everybody drove in some competitive fashion very, very early.
Mm-hmm. Early, yeah. I started racing when I was 11, started driving when I was 8, which is early, I suppose. I learned in a Mark II Escort, which learned how to drive, which is a good one. But like the Shanahans would be the same. I mean, John, their dad, who's mental.
He's a scary man that way. He's crazy.
Mental. Actually tried to kill me twice,
really?
particularly. Yeah, that's a good story.
We got time.
He loves me now, but yeah. But I can just imagine John just putting them into a car when they're a kid, way too young, and just making him drive it. He is like that kind of guy. He gave them like every hot rod car. We call it hot rod over here, whereas it would be like a dirt race car to you guys. We call them hot rods. I don't know why. He would have put them in then from way too early. I'd say fake passports and everything to get them into it. Birth certs, fake everything to get them early.
I've heard stories about that there was paperwork altered to make sure they could drive.
It's a nice way of putting it.
I won't say who, but that is going on currently still.
Oh, nice.
Yes, there's a driver right now that I can't confirm 100%, but there's some things that don't line up on the internet as to how old they actually are.
I must know more about this.
After the after show.
The after show, yeah. I'll turn on the camera.
Yeah.
But John would be crazy that way. So we all grew up, like John raced against my dad, even though, he's a good bit younger than my dad, but around the same time. And James' dad, big into the rallying, of course. And
James' uncle as well. And
of course. Yeah, and his brother. And, we were all racing cars, There was always something going to happen. Only for drifting, we'd all be rallying, 100%, James is probably the first real drift product, I think, that is just drifting.
Interesting.
He was just going drifting. Whereas there was no drifting when I started racing, So I started doing oval racing because that's what my dad did. And I could never afford to go rallying. So I did the drifting. Now, rallying looks so cheap. The way the drifting has gone is just ridiculous, which is another thing that needs to be addressed. Is the cost of it is it's unsustainable, especially at the highest level with tires and stuff. That's just crazy.
Two laps, and you're in some cases 315s are disappearing.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. I think it hurts the development of new talent when it needs the checkbook racing. You know what that is. It's not checkbook racing, but it's just
we're getting there.
Yes,
there are drivers that are.
Cost per meter or per foot for you.
Yeah, I can do both.
Insane. You can do both.
Yeah.
Maybe your audience is a bit more foot orientated, but cost per corner, let's say.
Yeah.
Is off the Richter scale, and in such a cutthroat sport where there is no second chance, if you are learning, and a 32 is probably going to be a decent weekend for you for maybe a year or 2 years. With the odd bit of luck here and there, you might go a bit further, but when you're coming up against heavy hitters and you're going home and you got practice and you got qualifying and you got one battle, it's hard to progress with one battle unless you're doing a lot of practice, which is even more money.
Yeah.
And then you're practicing on shit tires, so you need to get good tires to practice. I don't know. It's a difficult model. Drift Masters is the extreme of that with the tire that they have now.
Oh, they're nuts. It's like glue.
It's mad.
Yeah.
It is mad. It's a bit too far, in my opinion.
Okay.
It is a bit too far in my opinion. No, look, some of the runs are just unbelievable when it all comes off. It's just like, wow, this is the fastest drifting in the world.
And the way that the cars catch is what gets me. It's like 100%. This should not. There's no way that this car should be able to get through this corner.
The float is gone, isn't it? When you change, Mondello, when you change direction, going to turn 2, and you float for that first bit, you pick up the throttle. That was the old days. Now it's like just
it's not. You're either on throttle or off throttle. Those are your options.
Yeah. Which is spectacular, absolutely. But
it's incredible, yeah.
When you need, FD as well to a certain extent for a long time, when you need 1,000 horsepower to really try to compete for a top 8 or more, it's like, wow, this is bad. It's crazy. No, you don't want it to go to 400 horsepower because that's boring as shit.
Yeah.
That's boring. So there is a happy medium. I think FD, the tire, is much more attainable.
Yeah,
it's
there's
not mad.
200 tread wear. I mean, but it's become a mechanical setup war now.
Yeah,
where
which-
you need to have a suspension expert.
Which
on
I
your
would
team.
prefer. That's my forte. So
Yeah,
or that
you're like that pays my bills. Of
it
course, I
appeals
love that.
to me a lot more, obviously. But
Yeah,
there is. I would actually. It's interesting to see what your viewers think or whatever. But I would much prefer that than we'll say a person builds a 2J Sylvia with just a set of coilovers and whatever, and they bolt on a pair of tires that send them to the moon.
yeah.
That guy is all of a sudden in with a shout. I don't know.
I think
what do you reward?
I think the mechanical setup that we see in FD rewards team. It like you need to have knowledge, you need to be researched, you need to have a good team, you need to have a suspension expert of some kind. You need to have good mechanics because when you're putting that much drivetrain stress on it, things just break due to tension. Whereas to me, when we get into the really sticky tires, and you can even see it with the teams and Drift Masters, there's way less mechanics, which may be more affordable, right? Because now you may only need one or two guys to work on your car because you're still breaking things because the tires are so sticky, but you don't need to have somebody who's a suspension expert. You're like, okay, I'm going to run maybe a little bit of toe in, I'm going to set my toe out in the front to whatever, 20 mil or something like that, or neutral and make it really easy to drive. And the tire's going to do a lot of it. I've chatted with drivers on this side where they haven't really touched suspension for most of the year. And then you talk to the guys stateside and it's like, we're tuning all the way through the competition. The track's changing, the temperatures are changing, the amount of rubber going on track is changing, and we need to adjust the setup all the way through. And then that's not always the case. Like I think Freddie famously said, like, we set it at top 16 and we didn't touch it again.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. To me, that means you found the setup really early and you were able to go through. So
Well, it always comes down to the driver.
That's the thing. It doesn't matter any of
the
this.
good thing about
right?
drifting, one of the good things that the driver makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
More than if you do some checkbook racing, formula wise or whatever, the driver can make less of a difference because the equipment level and team support and all this can be crazy.
Yeah.
I think if you take a look at James's current FD Mustang, is a million miles away from Chelsea's FD winning Mustang.
Oh, the setup wise.
Yeah, just same team.
Yep.
Same team.
Relatively the same mechanics. Yeah. Same car.
Chassis.
Yep.
Same motor. The whole lot, relatively the same thing. Two totally different directions.
Yeah.
And one driver, James, hating the Chelsea setup, we'll say.
Yeah.
And Chelsea maybe not driving on the James setup currently.
It would be
know.
interesting to have Chelsea come back and drive James's setup to see what he thinks.
Yeah.
Because it's
way better.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know. I mean, hey, Chelsea won a
It's
championship.
got four wheels on the ground. It has to be better.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
It does. Two wheels on the ground is never going to work. It just doesn't. It's a motorbike.
Yeah, I don't know.
You see, the especially some place like Mondello this weekend.
They're lifting tires.
They're lifting, and then all of a sudden the dreaded push comes in at clip 2 at turn 1.
Yeah,
because your front wheels aren't
you're
on
not
the ground.
making-
Your
yeah.
front wheels aren't on the ground.
You don't have the
once-
droop setup correct.
Yeah, once you lose the front traction, it bites you quick now with the Drift Masters tires, much quicker than because we have that. You must be on throttle with them.
Yeah.
Those Mustangs, you could probably flick them from 1,000 yards and they'd still be going, that kind of way. They're so long and the angle is crazy. So
It's tough to say. I mean, at the end of the day, both of them have won championships on it. Vaughn has won a championship on that, on a similar
mindset,
I mean, similar vehicle. It wasn't exactly the same, but
I know because I was on the ASD side using that, we'll say, mindset towards suspension at the time. And then I moved over to Mike Kojima and SPD,
right,
and got a totally different dynamic on what was going on.
Well, because ASD came out of dirt track in a lot of ways, and they brought a lot of those over. Mike Kojima coming more from the time attack and road racing side of things. Two very different theories on it, where ASD is like, we use weight jacking, we try to get as much grip into it, we'll soften the rear, we'll change the sway bar setup. I mean, I've even heard things of running a chain on one side so that way you only get the sway bar working in one direction to get the car to jack on one side and then be, like an Orlando.
Running on the bump stop was a big one.
Right. Whereas, you say that to a Mike Kojima and you go, hey, the moment you touch the bump stop, you're losing traction.
Cry.
Right. But I think in some ways, and I don't know, this is an assumption, but utilizing the bump stop to actually break traction where you're having it have a dead spot that car will break free at that point.
Well, no, it was more to drive the tire into the ground and not absorb the weight transfer with the spring is what it was being used as.
So it would just slam in and then it would
slam the tire into the ground.
So now your sidewall becomes your last travel of suspension as opposed to like a helper spring or something.
So it was pushing the tire into the ground, but it's amazing. But at the end of the day, both setups won the championship.
Yeah,
they did, but you can't pick one or the other because one didn't blitz the opposition or pull away 10 car lengths because he put it on the bump stop. You know, they both ended up working the tire. It all comes down to the tire. Everything you do is for the tire. If the tire works at 220 degrees Celsius, well, then it doesn't work at 300. You know, there's only so much you can put into it, and it creates a certain amount of grip, and the driver will drive it. Whether it's jumping off the ground or whether it's totally stable. You look at Freddie's Supra, probably the most stable car that you could watch around the track. It's just butter.
Which is wild. I mean, I would put Odie's up there as well, but in two very different ways because like the suspension travel within the S15 versus that of the Supra. Supra's suspension travel is like this.
Yeah.
Like what is it? 30, 40 centimeters, if that. And then you get into an S15 and like you can set those cars up.
The Corolla.
Yeah.
It's the same. You can tell it's the same guy behind it because it's just butter. I mean,
and just the way they drive.
Yeah,
right.
It's just beautiful. Off the bank in Seattle and all that, you can watch the cars getting upset, and you can see that the Papadakis cars are just
it absorbs it.
Yeah, it's just
and
lovely.
doesn't lose speed and doesn't do anything strange. And
it's interesting. You can approach it from both ways, but I think maybe the spinning tire just can only do so much. There isn't that much. We don't have that much information on a spinning tire that is molten.
I don't know if you listen to it. If you get a chance, go back and listen to the Mike Kojima episode I did with him.
He's got someone's law, doesn't he? Mike is way too smart.
Yes.
Me and Mike are like that. We're great
we
friends.
We talk about the coefficient of friction. Maybe you know about this, but there's a puddle that happens at the base of the tire when you're at a certain point. You're actually having the tire float on this gas.
Yeah.
And you're kind of skating on it, and like by grabbing the e-brake or reducing the rotation of the tire then comes back down and makes traction again. And that is what you're feeling when the car grips and stuff like that. But yeah, Mike and I nerded out about that for about 30. I come from media originally. I used to do video work. And a lot of what I shot was very, very tight slow-mo because the team I worked for came from rally and import drag racing. It wasn't Papadakis. Riley Sexsmith and Pro 2 back in the day, if thrown back there. But that team came from those two sports. And when I would film stuff, they would always ask, like, can you, early on in practice, film the suspension in the rear for us as tight as you can get it? Like, make sure the wheel and suspension is within frame, but we want slow-mo and we want to see what that tire is doing all the way through. So I would come back from practice and we would go back and like look at it. And then they could see from the video what the car was doing, talk to the driver, and then work with it. So my big introduction to drifting in person was just watching those type of shots. So I became obsessed with what is this car doing? Why is it doing that? What is the driver doing to make the car do that? And what is the car doing to make the driver do something?
Yeah.
And that to me that's the part that's everybody is fighting and trying to figure out.
Yeah, you can nerd out. I nerd out in it a lot. I used to.
It's just cool because it makes no sense.
With Mike as my engineer,
Yeah.
So I was exposed to a lot of that. But Mike was using, we were using a tire temperature reading, with a picture on the infrared picture, which where you can pick so it was.
Was that in the car or was that just afterwards?
Afterwards.
So
after the run. So we had Chris from KW. He was doing the quick suspension changes when you pulled back in, and he had the tire temperature gun. And Mike would say, we want this temperature across the 3 contact patches of the tire, whatever, middle, inside, and outside. And then he's like, that's it. He goes, that is all that tire has to give. You can soften it. You can leave the pressure down. You're going to make it worse. You can put the pressure up. You're going to make it worse. You can do whatever you want now, but that's it.
He realized what temperature it needed to be.
He's like, that's the full level of grip of that tire. Anything else you do, you're not going to go faster. And that was how he kind of tuned the car, how we tuned the car around the weekend. And that was it, drive it from there, And that sounds very simple. It wasn't, of course. But
No,
if it
'cause
was, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah.
But that was the way he wanted the car to react, you know. And on bank courses and everything, of course, it's impossible to get it perfect. But
Yeah, because you're loading one side more than the other. And
exactly. But that's all he wanted was the temps of the tire to work within that operating window. That is full grip from that tire, and you now have full grip. And then, as I said, to be exposed to a total over level of it where you have the tire 1 psi above what it falls off the rim. Now you've got loads of grip, you know, which is still maybe the way that a lot of it goes right now. You can see half a bar tire pressure, 7 pounds, whatever, just to keep it on the rim. And they grow so much, obviously, and goes up so much. But that is what a lot of people do. Keep dropping the pressures to go faster. Keep dropping the pressures to go faster. Feels faster. Maybe you're just fighting it more, but it feels faster. So it's a very interesting thing to once you have the data, you can make a decision on it. But to say that you won because you had 7 pounds instead of 9 pounds is a tricky one, you know?
Yeah, and there's so much human element into what we do. As we talked about before, that like you can have the perfect setup, the perfect car, all the budget in the world, but if the driver can't drive, none of that matters. And vice versa. We have guys that come up with no money, no technology, nothing, and just a good feel. And that driver gets in and they just do magical things. And you're like, that's just based on gut and feel.
Yeah, it was like myself and my Corolla or whatever. And then I think after me would have been Asbo and the Supra, if you ever remember that.
Yeah,
and
Truckee,
then,
the Mark IV.
Yeah, I think after that, then I think the last guy really was probably JTP in his FC. Was the last guy home built, came along, you know, didn't need to have.
We have some. We still have that now. I mean,
but it's so structured now. Like I mean, I'm talking about out of the blue, you know, these kind of things like where a guy comes along, something he built in his shed, and it's an FC with a rotary in it, and but he goes out and you're like, oh, he has it.
He knows what he's doing.
Like, yeah, and could actually hope for a result. We'll say like
that's fair.
Like Freddie did in I think Long Beach or something with that Supra, you know.
Yeah, he came out swinging.
I don't think he'll mind me saying that it was a piece of crap, like, but man, he drove it, you know. I mean, geez, you needed a tetanus shot to go look at it.
That car stuck around until 4 years ago. Ulla Jaeger drove it after him.
Yeah,
he
like
sold to
Japan
another
Auto or something.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So you're still up to date.
I know a lot of things. But yeah, just going on suspension, the 240s over there probably out of shot, but my one, which is going to be ready for next year, I hope. What I do with it, I don't know. But
it'd be good to see you come back.
Well, like Mondello after the weekend, of course, you have a massive itch after the weekend, and that tails off a bit. But that is a very interesting car, and will be one of, if not the greatest cars around anywhere. Whether I can drive it or not to its 10/10s is another thing, but it is just mad.
Yeah,
and it's going to be insane.
I think you still got it. I don't think it'll take long.
No, I think it'll be alright. But you know. When you build the cars to be insane, they kind of become a Drift Masters car. You're building a car for a tire, and then it becomes kind of a one-show pony. If you go and put a handy tire on it and you grow out, then you're kind of blowing them off it, and
it doesn't feel the same. And
a lot of these, the Drift Masters cars are gone back to be after years and years and years of trying to put weight in the rear, and now putting it back in the front.
Well, because they just don't have the front bite, and we're seeing that on FD as well.
Yeah,
where people have realized how much grip we can get out of the rears. And they're still understeering. Yeah,
well, Drift Masters, it's not uncommon to have 25, 26 PSI in the back tires, you know, which a few years ago or in another championship would be unheard of to be up there, whereas the tire is beyond belief. So therefore putting it in the front is not a detriment to grip because you have all the grip in the world. So that one is going to be like, as best as we can build something, it's going to be that mad.
That's weird.
It'll have, you know, I think 2,000 horsepower would be its 10/10s, and it has adjustable power, so it's got the World of Outlaw sprint car engine with 2 turbos on it. So
is this, you already have this sorted? Like this is this been a plan in the works for a while?
The block is there.
Okay.
There's a brand new dart block there.
Okay.
All the stuff is here, missing 1 or 2 pieces, but nothing insane. There's a brand new gearbox from G-Force there ready for it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very interesting car. It's got all the new Turbo Smart wastegates, new Turbo Smart turbos. E-gate. Yeah. So as I say, 2,000 horsepower, but the power will be adjustable from the cockpit, you know?
So you can just bleed it off.
The gates, so we can run, and the plan is then for when it rains is to open the gates and run like 700. for the weight.
I've seen that creep in a few. I won't say which drivers, but I'm seeing that more and more now, where drivers are realizing, like especially for the rain, or depending on the driver, or even, I mean, going up through the gears or launching the car.
Yeah.
Right. Like why do you need 1,200 horsepower on tap to launch a car? You don't. You really only want 6 or 7. I mean, really, in some cases, even 5, just to get the car out. And then as soon as it's out, now we can ramp everything up. But traditionally,
in 2014 in the Falken S14 with the twin turbo sprint car engine, I had spring pressure on a switch in the gear knob and boost control, we'll say.
Oh, really?
So I had 850 wheel for the straight, and then I had 1250 wheel on the button.
So you would drop it into third or fourth and then hit it and go.
Yeah, I would hit third or fourth, and like we'll say in Seattle, I would do the straight at 850 wheel, and then I would click it on the bank, and I would just be off at the races. That would have been the event that you were on about, where we did the perfect event, and the car was just money.
Yeah,
and I mean, that car would have been amazing. It's still somewhere. I think it's in the Falken warehouse still.
Okay,
but that car would have been amazing if it was done from a shell build. It was always kind of added to. But that thing was really going places. It was such a pity they did finish at the time, because that thing was the recipe at the time,
Yeah.
It's like Odie's car now, we'll say.
It's
Odie's
such car
a recipe now.
It's so sorted.
Yeah, it's such a recipe. It's easy to drive, yet it's fast, and, loads of power, reliable. And at the time we were really going somewhere. And, it's a shame they left, but so be it. That's
what it is. Yeah.
Economics or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, if I ever go to the warehouse, I'll let you know. I'll get you a picture.
James drove it, actually. He drove it at SEMA, I think, one year.
Right.
He drove it there, yeah.
Yeah, so they blew the dust off a few different cars for that.
Lots of fun. I think he was Warthouse that time, I think.
Yeah.
And he took it out for a spin. But with no angle or anything back then, not no angle, but I mean, nothing like what you get away with these days,
No. Where we're at now with grip kits and angle kits and stuff, it's nuts. You can really dig a car into a hole, into a corner, and be able to still recover. It doesn't look pretty, but it's better than what it used to be of just either spinning out or shooting off into the grass.
Yeah. Like having to drive with little angle is such a knife edge, back then. Yeah. I remember we had cut knuckles for forever and ever. Yeah. And it's just, to think how much we left on the table. If we could, I'm sure we could have put all our heads together if we really wanted to come up with something better than we had, but it was just one of those things. Maybe you get a little bit comfortable when you're, if you're podium multiple rounds, or it's coming to you easy, and you get experience when you get on that kind of juggernaut. It's like you see Connor this weekend or whatever on his home track. You just adapt so quickly in qualifying, because you've been there so many times. That's why it's been so hard for someone to win in Mondello forever, because you're adapting to that turn one and all the intricacies of it. And the Irish guys go out there and they know what they're doing, So it's been so hard to win. Peter's getting pretty good at it now, though, but it's like anywhere, knocking the top 6 off their perch is incredibly difficult. Not only do they end up with the best of everything, but they just feel comfortable at the tracks they've been at for the last 6-10 years instantly.
Yeah.
And to come in and think that you can just do that, you're going to be one hell of a talent.
Well, and a lot of it too is just the notes and the car setup, and you show up ready to go, whether it's mindset or vehicle or crew, and then it's just,
More
you're not...
for FD, though. In Drift Masters, we touched on it. The vehicle setup isn't the end of the world.
I think I still think there's some going on, but it's just not the same way.
I think that brings me to something from the weekend, or we touched on a little bit with Papadox's car, like the Supra, with looking at how tricky that car is to drive and how long it's taken Peter, who's just been, Supra developing for the last 2 years non-stop, basically.
Yeah.
Where he's gotten with it, and how funny his car looks with the front of it touching the ground and the back of it up in the air, and things that he's doing that you wouldn't have done, talking about rear weight, front weight. And obviously Freddie's one on a total different tyre is a little bit different thing. But the Supra Wisefab recipe, it doesn't work with a Supra. Regular Joe who would have had a E46 or a Silvia that does well says, let's do a Supra, and all of a sudden this thing is horrible, it just doesn't work. It is only a Z4, of course. They could have built a Z4 years ago, but it's not a Supra, a Z4, is it?
No, I mean, even isn't it Jack's car in FD right now, the 1 Series, is basically the same suspension components as the Supra.
Is it?
Yeah. If I'm wrong, I'm going to get blown up for that. But I'm almost positive it's the same or very similar subframes and everything else. And because he's been struggling with that car, and it's just same thing. It's just there's not a lot of travel in there. The way that the car does travel within its range is a little bit wonky and gets a little bit funny. And there's just the working room to where that car wants to drive within the suspension setup is so fine that even they're saying like a couple of, let's say you got 14 clicks of suspension, whatever that means to whoever, 1 or 2 in the wrong direction, the car's undrivable.
Did you ever see Jack in a real Supra? Do you remember when he drove in Russia?
Yeah, RTS stuff.
That was class.
Yeah, it was nuts.
That was the best. That was the best driving. Like that was the best Jack driving that I've ever seen. That car, he should have one of them cars built right now, straight away for use, because it was insane to watch him.
It's there's got to be such a struggle between building something that's cool and relevant versus something that's going to work.
I'm going to put a controversial one out there, but
please.
GT86 is the worst drift car.
You and Chelsea Denofa get along on that one.
They're the worst drift car. Like, they're not spectacular. They're too short. Jesus.
Aren't they like with a full angle kit on it? Aren't they as wide? Like the wheel track width is the same as they are length or something? It's basically a square.
They look like a frog. They're the worst drift car.
But what else do you do?
They ruined the legacy of a lovely car. It doesn't look a thing like the original one.
Listen, I mean, you've got a lot of bias on the 86 platform.
A lot of bias on
that's why they called it a GT or GR86, not an AE. If they would have called an AE86, then I get that. But I know what you're saying. It's still the 2 numbers.
They're just they're not the car.
So what do we have though? Like that becomes the question.
I don't know. If it was me, I would leave any car in. I would leave anything be a drift car.
Yeah.
I would maybe, I wouldn't mind going away from the monocoque style-ish or whatever to something that, could be a hatchback.
Yeah.
Well, this thing is just mad.
I know, but like imagine.
But if you could build a hatchback, like, when Scion came in, we'll say, and all of a sudden, the floor pan is the same as a Corolla from South Africa or something. Right. Like, no, it's not. Come on.
Well, that was back to Papadakis, the Corolla IM. Like it came all-wheel drive somewhere else, so they allowed it. They allowed it to them.
But why don't you just say you can do this? Like,
I don't know.
It would be a much better statement to go, Toyota want to come into the sport. That's it.
Yeah.
Rules have changed. And absolutely, I'm all for that. And if the likes of anyone, Audi, someone small with a hatchback, Volkswagen, if they were interested, if they thought, this is not bad. No, I know. Look, whatever, it mightn't fit in with.
But there's all-wheel
things are going.
All-wheel drive Golfs and stuff like that.
There is, but then you look at the rule book and you're like, well, I need to cut a little bit more than this out of the way, and I'm not allowed. And
yeah, I mean, I think Kevin's getting a little bit better with some of it, because even the SN 197, like the Mustang, there's a provision to be able to put like a different subframe in it, because it would be a terrible drift car without it. And that's been done. Even the Mark IV Supra, there's some new revisions for the rear end, but it's like, I agree. I think it should be on a case-by-case basis, but it's up to...
Not even a case-by-case basis, if someone built Audi A1 or S3 or something,
Right.
And did an amazing job, and Audi might get interested out of that, not on a case-by-case basis, but just, you can do this now. With modern-looking chassis that are relevant or whatever.
Yeah.
It's difficult to... we all love the Silvias, but we're all kind of geeks for drifting, and we know all the rules.
Yeah,
like we said before.
Yeah, nostalgia is a hell of a drug. That's the issue.
It's going to be very hard for Volkswagen to accept to be beaten by 1989 240 SX,
Well, there was a rumor for a while that the car had to be within the last 25 years.
Yeah, but then you just use a 180 SX from 1999 or whatever. It's the same.
Right.
And you can't use an S14. It doesn't work. It's a difficult way around it. But how many rear-wheel drive cars is there?
There's not many. That's the issue.
Exactly.
There's a bunch of all-wheel.
When is it going to become like a BMW championship,
I mean, that's kind of where we're getting to in a lot of ways. And Corvette.
And possibly,
equipment.
one of the brands that doesn't really want to be involved at all, probably.
Right, but they use drifting in every commercial.
Yeah, I mean, someone's gone sideways, but I don't think it fits in with their, their market of more middle class or whatever.
I think
middle-aged, maybe.
It's very much pushing towards a Corvette market, at least in the U.S., because they're coming down in price. You see guys at grassroots able to afford them. you can find them
used Corvettes, like
used
not,
Corvette.
not the new one. Is rear engine, like.
But I mean, Matt Field's developing the hell out of that car, and it looks good. Like in motion, it works. Is it? I mean, I'd have to ask him, and he wouldn't tell me the truth on air.
I'm
anyways,
not sure you can get away from the mass where it is in the vehicle. Like, I don't think it's going to hang out for as long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The famous Tony Angelo quote of "prove Isaac Newton wrong" when he was talking about the Porsche.
It's not. I don't think it's going to happen. Like,
I don't know.
But
But I mean, Chelsea's driving a Porsche right now, and
he's not an FD. Like,
no.
no, he can drive it all he wants around.
But how much
the yard
development
somewhere.
do we need to get to that point?
Well, we had Tyler Maguire drove a Porsche first, didn't he?
Yeah.
Almost died probably from
from crazy snap oversteer and understeer. And,
but that was a real Porsche. That's a Volkswagen Beetle. Like, the engine is really in the back.
Yeah.
But just a point, like, it would be great to see it on TV. It'd be great to see manufacturer support. If you want manufacturer support, if you think of the manufacturers that are involved in saloon car racing, I would imagine hardly any of them have a rear-wheel drive platform.
Yeah.
You look at WRC, can't get a manufacturer to save its life. There's only 2 plus Ford, which doesn't really matter because it's not Ford.
Yeah.
And they use now they have a kind of a semi-tube frame car.
Yeah.
That looks like the road car because it has to, but then it's 4-wheel drive and it's got all.
But it could go back to a production level vehicle to then potentially save the sport.
They're allowed bespoke subframes to fit their diffs and their arms and everything, and it can mount into the rear of the car. I wouldn't mind that now because it's getting further away from a car with a good subframe, and FD especially don't even allow you to move the subframe up a quarter of an inch. I think still,
it's pretty tight tolerance. It's
crazy. So, well, not crazy. That's them's the rules, but I don't know, the next level of the sport or whatever. Give it another 10 years. Where are we going to be with rear-wheel drive platforms?
I think they'll always be around in the same way that like they're still building stuff that they built 50, 60 years ago, just in new ways, right? Like Dodge is on a kind of a big comeback now away from the EV model. They brought back one of the high-level C-suite guys to do some cool shit, and it's like, well, maybe that'll be it. Maybe they'll start making new Camaros that are really good for drifting. Maybe there are people out there still drifting them. They didn't sell super well to make it attainable, and the Corvette's a better platform.
Kia or something want to use.
They had the Stinger.
They have the Stinger, but that probably isn't going to stay around.
I thought it would. I thought the Stinger would have been the next drift car.
It was a cool idea, but they're hardly going to keep building it. I don't think it sells great.
No.
It's also not available in most places.
Right. And they didn't sell a ton of them. I mean, I don't know if Nissan's even still making the 400Z. I'm not sure what the production's like on
Nissan
that.
is
in a weird place.
Yeah, the company is all over the place, isn't it? And
but I mean, maybe Mazda comes out with a new RX model. That would be sick. It's just, I really think it's going to be one brand.
But I think
every couple of years does something.
What I would like to see is someone different, like Skoda or something. You know what I mean? Someone with big power, VW. Someone with big power that doesn't have a rear-wheel drive platform. I know we had the Passat, which did that compete at one stage?
That's a good question. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know.
It definitely did a couple of laps. I remember lining up next to it at some stage, but that's another one, where...
Yeah.
Oh, here comes Volkswagen with a drift car because of Tanner, It's like,
right. No, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, it definitely, it competed, I think, for 2 years because they did the V8 with the crazy equal length headers in it.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
But where did that fit in? It's a Passat, there was a 4-wheel drive Passat somewhere, I guess. But why not? I mean, how do you say no to Volkswagen again, Huge deal.
First or second biggest car company in the world, depends on the month.
And once you get one, you get the next one. And, you get their competitor that takes a look at it or whatever. Now, the way the world has gone, maybe this sport is a dinosaur anyway because we're consuming tires and fuel like there's no tomorrow. And who knows what way it's going to go. Volkswagen certainly are apparently going electric, so that's the end of them, I guess.
That's the end of them. Well, I mean, Jaguar just did it.
Yeah, but how is drifting going to fall in with that mindset of, we're going clean, but our race team is absolutely burning the candle at every end, It's not going to work. You do see the format, sorry for cutting it off, but you do see the World Rallycross went electric so everyone could get involved and it died like there was no tomorrow. And it's gone back internal combustion now.
I think if we had to get sustainable, there would be a couple of options. One would be recap tires, which we've seen work.
Yeah.
They work in competitive drifting in a lot of ways.
Fuel.
Yeah, or we go electric.
No. No.
I'm not saying I like it or agree with it, but what a lot of companies are doing with Teslas right now is pretty crazy.
It's nothing to do with that. It is like we're sensory beings. We have our senses.
Yeah.
If you take away
The rumble.
sound, it becomes nothing.
There is sound, but maybe that's the issue, is that like an electric
it's the sound
motor
of
isn't.
the tires being ripped asunder. That's all you can hear. And it's a horrible sound. It's a sound that you never noticed before. When there
Right.
was an engine, and it's like, what is the noise coming off this thing?
Well, Travis Reeder had Napoleon Motorsports built a Camaro that was electric, and
I've
it was
seen that,
it was weird. I got to film it and be right next to the track, and it was very, very strange. But I'm wondering if like the issue is that an electric motor company hasn't built an electric motor that sounds good.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
they
if you-
haven't spent any time to make it sound good. Like we've spent years making engines sound
You
good.
like Formula One.
I do.
Do you like Formula E?
That's a good point.
No, you don't. And the only difference is the noise. Well, the razzmatazz or whatever. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, the weird like taking an alternate route to
I
get
love
battery push and stuff.
MotoGP. Have I watched Moto E? Absolutely not.
I know.
I do not want to watch silent
but
bikes.
what will our kids watch?
Oh, well,
Do you watch horse racing?
I would hope. No, I don't watch horse racing.
Right, but your grandparents might have.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
They didn't have cars, though, didn't they?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, at some point, this is my argument with all of it. Funny enough, full circle. BJ Bolthauser used to work with Dodge. You remember him?
No.
Okay. Anyways, he did a bunch of the marketing stuff. I worked with him on a big electric project. And the line that caught me is that the same arguments that we have about electric cars now are the same arguments that people in horse and buggies had about gas.
About automobiles, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm not approaching it from that argument. I do hope, and I like to believe, but I hope that, if we do go fully electric or whatever, that motorsport becomes even more internal combustion, that these were what we used, and then it becomes vintage or classic. Classic motorsport is amazing. Modern motorsport is horrendous. It just is. The old cars are so much more spectacular.
Oh, they're just sketchy
noise,
and
everything.
big V12s and stuff.
Yeah, they don't have too much grip. They slide. They move around. Too much air gets boring. And
I don't think it'll ever go away completely. In the same way that people still race horse and buggy, and they race, Model T. There's Model T racing out there, which is wild. People still drag race cars from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, all the way up. So I don't think we'll ever really get rid of it, because we've never actually gotten rid of anything. Right? It's just the niche audience gets smaller and smaller over
but
time.
motorsport is a pretty small drop in the ocean. If industry and transport becomes electric, well then a little bit of motorsport won't make much of a difference. So that's the hope that I hold out.
That's fair.
We can burn our little bit of fuel, because now we're not burning any
everywhere else.
That we
Let
can
us be
have
heathens here.
this entertainment, And Formula One is a good example. Like, they're not in a rush to go electric, even though they're probably under the most pressure from environmentally, we'll say, from all sides, because they're huge and they're transporting stuff all around them. Like, they consume a lot.
The next generation of F1 cars are both like a step forward for electric, but also a step back, because it is more power from the electric motors, but the recovery systems, they've removed a complete recovery system for it. So it's like you've actually removed from some technology from these cars that are more forward towards the electric side of things, but then also went, but now we need you to use more electric power.
I think
interesting.
we're at a unique time as well, where like the engineers and manufacturers and all that, they've passed out motorsport. So the motorsport is no longer that much of a development ground for new things or for testing parts that are going to, like, if you look at rallying back in the day in the 80s, when, they were almost reliability runs. That's what they started out at, big distances, and they were testing their street cars to make a better product, Whereas now we're pegging them back, easy. Have a 1,000 horsepower rally car now if we want, and they're limited to like 350. Whereas back in the day, if this thing had 500, which is rumored to have, your road car had 60 or 80. So it was like going to see the space shuttle get launched. Whereas now, you can buy a street car, a Dodge, with 800 horsepower. Almost 3 times the power of a top rally car, which, it's not relevant because the way the rally car does it. But you know what I mean? Power-wise, it's like we're holding back motorsport now. Formula One car could now make the driver pass out if we wanted it to. So we're actually holding motorsport back. So it's lost its connection to be that development thing for street cars that it had for decades up until the past 10 maybe.
Yeah, I think motorsport has always developed something. I don't think they've.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, because carbon fiber. The fact that guys now are doing carbon fiber parts or carbon Kevlar parts in their garages at home is insane, because that was something that was developed and really pushed forward late 80s, early 90s in F1.
Yeah.
So I think it'll always develop, but I understand exactly what you're saying. We're not taking a stock or a close to stock road vehicle, modifying the hell out of it, and then beating the shit out of it in racing to prove how good our road cars are.
Yeah, we know the road car can do it because we
did it with this. And those were the ads, right? Would win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Exactly. We race, you get the result. It was the thing. And that was the golden era for me. When I look back, I'm not that old, everybody. Like you started our conversation with.
Yeah,
but,
I got to set the bar.
Do you know, when you look back at the nostalgia of 80s rallying and stuff, you're like, oh, I just
we talked about Group B already.
I'd just love to be, just imagine being there,
Yeah. I once again, nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
100%.
I still think we're in a golden age of motorsports. We just won't know it for another 15 years, right? Someone posted that about even drifting now. Some motorsports, yeah. Everything's going to kind of go back and forth. I really think we're in a golden age of drifting right now. I don't think the cars have ever been better. The amount of braking is massively reduced. I would say the 2015 to 2018, maybe even going a little bit further back when you guys were braking transmissions all the time, CVs constantly.
Yeah.
It was to get through, 2 battles on the same set of axles was crazy. We've gotten to a point now where what's braking we're back to braking engines, where now everything else in the drivetrain is so robust that it's now we have to find a way to get the engines.
A lot of engines still done currently,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. It's that seems to be the next thing that we have to start developing again, and we'll have to find different places to pull them from. You talking about building a 2,000 horsepower engine, that's phenomenal. And this isn't me questioning your ability as a builder, because obviously you've done incredible things, but how long does that last?
Well, it must, yeah. Well, with my car, because we don't have time to go at it, we had this conversation today briefly, it must last. Now I don't do that many events anymore, but it's 2,000 capable. I reckon it'll be sitting at 12. So it's
which is how you get it to last.
It's overbuilt, yeah.
Right.
So it doesn't 2,000 horsepower. You're talking about a gearbox, a differential that won't take that anyway.
You want those to break first, yeah.
But you don't want to be breaking them, So you got to make it last. So I think 1,200 is the number that I want right now. I can't measure it anyway because there's no one with a hub dyno, so I can't measure it to 2,000. So
that doesn't exist in Ireland?
It does. It's just not with the tuners we use and stuff, 1,000 horsepower is a lot over here. It's a lot, It doesn't.
There's room here. You could put a hub dyno right here.
You could, yeah. If you pay for it, you can put it.
I'm not going to pay for it, but someone might.
But yeah, I don't think the neighbors would enjoy the hub dyno.
No, they wouldn't. I used to have an office next to a hub dyno, and it was not a good time.
Crazy, yeah. And we're pretty close to the town, as you know, just a stone's throw. So
yeah, they would know.
I wouldn't put them through that.
Maybe at the next shop.
But yeah, for Drift Masters, you have to have it, I think.
I think 1,000 is now, it's capable of reaching 1,000. I do think a lot of drivers drive with less than that, but have the ability to wick the car up to over 1,000.
And it's amazing that we throw a 4-figure horsepower number around here like
it's nothing.
Like it's nothing. That's crazy power. No, everyone on the internet has 1,000 horsepower and they're nowhere near it. It has become that number that every car is, and it's absolutely miles off it. But it is a little bit mad that you need 1,000 horsepower car that's doing, that thing will probably do 30 litres of fuel for 2 laps plus a pair of tyres. You're like, man, this has gone absolutely berserk,
Yeah, but look at Top Fuel.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, Top Fuel, you're rebuilding an engine every pass.
Yeah,
clutch packs out, full engine rebuild, drop everything back in. So.
Yeah. Probably had its day as well, though, has it, Top Fuel?
Yeah, it's not doing amazing. The fact, look at the new New Jersey. That was an NHRA drag strip. That's now a drift course.
Closed, yeah.
Yeah, it's a drift track now.
Yeah, I was there. I did D1 there in the car park next to behind the bleachers. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now where that thing is, that's our New Jersey track. Is we are driving, lapping around where NHRA used to run Top Fuel cars.
Terrible track. Figure of 8, hate it.
Yeah, not a fan.
No.
Coming from European drifting, it's a lot more transitions. That seems to be kind of the biggest thing.
European drifting isn't the be all and end all either. I think
No, I don't think so. But I think having both is what's Perfect. That's what I love about right now.
But there's some tracks that just work. Like we spoke about Wall, you know, you look at Wall, you're like, geez, this is fairly simple. It just works. You know, you look at Spain this year, didn't work.
Yeah.
You come back to Mondello, it's like, look,
Works.
there's 2 corners here and a centerpiece. Like, this looks easy, and all of a sudden it's the hardest track you've ever been to.
Yeah. Riga
Riga
works.
works. It's spectacular.
Atlanta's works.
Atlanta's amazing. Arundel was amazing, of course.
Yeah. But Arundel's a very simple. It was a very simple track. I think Atlanta.
Simple from the outside, like not from the
Oh yeah.
inside.
Well, I just have to talk about it. I don't have to drive it.
Yeah. No, it's not a simple track to lock on. Seattle is a great track. I think that's a good one.
That bank is so long.
And there must be an awful lot of those. There must be an awful lot of those ovals in America. I don't know why they can't be explored a little bit more. You know. Florida
Orlando.
is the oval, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit samey. It's kind of like one transition.
Yeah.
It's a shame there's not a bit more of a technical section. It's kind of on throttle one transition.
Not a lot of room for it, to be honest. The way it's laid out.
I think it's really bumpy as well off of that line, is it?
Yeah.
So I'm told.
And it's so sandpaper. Like it's like 5 grit sandpaper out there. But that's also what makes it kind of fun, because like you can barely get a set of tires through.
Yeah, you can. But then it makes it kind of. I think whatever Hero was doing there the last day, he had it figured out. He just pulled away from everyone on the last corner.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, even
But then the tire would light up, which
he lit the tire all the time, didn't he?
Yeah.
Whereas,
Which my theory on that is that tire is overworked. Like when it ignites.
What was interesting was he's not the only one on that tire yet. He was the only one on fire.
Right, but that says to me he's reached that pinnacle amount of grip and then gone a little bit over.
Well, maybe he's running way more wheel speed or something, you know. Yeah. But he's a real good. He looks really good. He looks really good now.
He was really good last year, and then there was some arguments about him not being super fast or whatever. Right. Which young kid, it's going to happen, and speed's not something we judge on anymore.
Unfortunately.
Okay, we can get into that. What I think is scary about him now is that he's able to adapt his style to every driver he goes against.
No, he's really good.
And that's what scares the hell out of me, is like he'll only get... I joke, as long as he doesn't find some massive distraction, that he's only going to get better.
Normally,
I mean, you said it, but yeah. I was leaning towards it, I just didn't say it, but yeah.
I can say it. But.
Yeah.
No, he looks amazing. He's so young as well. Give him a chance to learn the events and learn the track and his surroundings. You can't expect. He's got the talent. You can't expect.
Yeah, and the heritage, the family. I mean,
yeah. I drifted against his dad, which is just the oldest statement I've ever said.
See, you keep saying I'm not that old, and then you keep coming back around saying this stuff.
Prove that I'm really old. No, he looks really good. I think the US is crying out for a Hero or a James Dean or a Conor Shanahan. I haven't seen the US produce some, young gun.
That's really come up. I mean, Brandon Sorensen, to a lot of degree, I think his younger brother Cameron coming up is going to be really interesting because he's had, he's 13 right now, coming into pro spec. So he could be 14 years old coming to pro.
Ireland.
I know. But I mean, no,
but I'm not saying. But you're just waiting for that guy who's just, this is natural talent straight away to go, wow. Just like Hero did. You're like straight away.
There's a few people coming up that I can see it happening with. It's just it really comes down to the funding.
Oh, it's crazy.
There's drivers who are absolutely phenomenal. They have zero business mindset, and that means that they'll never, unfortunately, unless some team discovers them and brings them in, going like, this kid crushes, but that's not happening anymore.
Teams don't do that.
No, it's not happening anymore.
No. Most of the teams that you or I would call pro teams, they're one guy who has dedicated 20 years and sacrificed so much to have himself a pro-looking team with some sponsors he holds on to, and doing it all, and it's crazy. The commitment that has to go into it, and then everyone, the pros. That guy's had no life for 20 years trying to be this drift pro. Yeah. It looks like he has a lot more than he actually has, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I see it all the time, and it's tough because like you don't want to disillusion people, you don't want to lie to people, but you also don't want them to lose the dream of like this is something that all the glitters is gold, right?
Do the younger generation kids kind of coming up or whatever? Do they have the want to do FD?
Oh, yeah.
For sure?
Yeah.
Because we have all those final bout guys and everything, and they're just happy sliding around and being, in teams and sliding. I don't think any of them really have the
No.
want to be in Formula D.
There's an interesting story going on right now, coming up in Prospect, is a driver named Brian Hopp, who's part of like that old Blood Masters crew, like East Coast guys. Like what kind of the continuation of what like Tony and Chris and Ryan Turk to some extent, even Vaughn, developed back in the day. That's still continuing on, that East Coast drift scene. And there's a driver named Brian Hopp who's kind of a local legend out of New Jersey, and then he decided to make the jump into like competitive drifting, which I'm speaking very broadly
Good
about
way
it, but
to cross your legend.
yeah, but it's like, yeah, you make that jump and put everything on the line. And thankfully in New Jersey, he actually did quite well, because the beginning of the season was pretty rough. But it's such a big jump up to the pro level as opposed to just bang indoors with your friends. It's two very different sports at that point. But no, there's a big push. The Prospect group is massive right now to try and get into pro. They're fighting their own battles to try and get up, but there's a lot of really, really interesting drivers that are coming up right now. We talk about like drivers who are really, really good that are coming up. Tommy Lemare out of Canada, who's in pro now.
Yeah.
He is a natural. It's just scary how like natural he is. And then Connor O'Sullivan is the other one that comes to mind right now. That only a few years into
good
drifting.
name.
Yeah, good name. His dad spent a lot of time in Ireland.
Yeah,
Their family's Irish.
I've seen those two guys driving. I do tune in.
Yeah.
I can't watch it all,
No, that's fair.
but
There's a lot going on, but
yeah, but it doesn't happen at a great time for us. And
that's
then,
fair. Yeah, especially if it's West Coast, it's even worse.
Yeah, and you just the next day becomes a disaster. And if you stay up and watch it online,
Yeah.
unfortunately, James does really well, and you end up watching a lot of it.
Yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, I mean, even Astamata to a certain extent has got that, but he's been in the sport a lot longer. But to me, yeah, Tommy and Connor just very short careers, quote unquote, and progressing very, very quickly. And there's a bunch that are coming up that are doing the same. So it's there. The want is there. The need is there. It's once again, I don't think there's enough information about how to get sponsors and manage a program from the monetary side. I think that's the biggest disservice we have right now.
Like going back a little bit, like if the format was a bit more sharpish, then whatever, we could probably stay in touch a bit more what's going on. But the fact that you'd have to devote an evening to watch the up and coming talent, be it in Prospect or whatever, it's just not going to happen. And maybe, the fact that I'm saying that, I'm sure many corporate people or whatever that maybe want to take a look at whatever, it's not like, again, watching an hour and a half of football, I have to dedicate, Jesus, I can't sit down.
What I think maybe we're lacking, and this can go even like no matter what drifting series, just because it doesn't matter what series right now, we're all kind of suffering from the same thing, that it's long and difficult to consume in one sitting. It's a day. It's at least a day of viewing. Is a better summarization of an event. Like if I miss an F1 race, I will go back and watch a race in 30. Right? In 30 minutes, I can basically watch an entire race.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe what we're missing, is a really good summarization. In FD, and I think Drift Masters does it as well, they'll do just the battles. Yeah. Which is fine, but it's not enough of a story put together to make it worth it.
It has to be with the live commentary, though, because I do remember FD used to do a recap show for
G4.
For G4 one time, and it was commentated over a second time,
right,
for TV, and it just loses the magic. You can't do it after the fact. You lose the commentator in the crowd, or with the energy from the crowd and what's going on. You can't be just shouting and roaring at a teleprompter after the fact.
I think what you need is both. I think you need the live calls, because there's something magical about, a Jared or a Dave or an Ian or myself or whoever just really into that moment. Like you're just focused in, everything's built to this point. You can't recreate that except for in the moment. But what it needs is the in between, the narrative to set that up, because whatever event, if you don't have all the story coming up to it, that finals doesn't feel as good. But if somebody maybe summarized what was coming up or led into it and then switched to the live call, that could be the case. But that could be done by anybody. That could be done independently. What I think helps,
if they can get the footage of.
Well, FD, it's all public. So for me, it's like it's all there. It's all available. All the drivers get it.
You wouldn't get Red Bull's footage of.
I don't know. See, I don't know how that all works. I haven't even asked.
I doubt it.
Yeah, but
you would if you paid enough money, maybe.
Yeah, but if you look at like F1 is a good example. You have so many independent content creators that will like do racing watch-alongs, right? Where you can just watch their YouTube channel and then have the race on mute. And they're not showing the race. They're just their own commentary. And then you have the race on either in picture, or you just have their audio and the race on over top. And it's a private commentary. Or they will create enough content about the rumors going on, or about, the silly season, like Max going to Mercedes and all that shit right now. That, I think, is what is missing right now in drifting, is we need independent creators who are obsessed with the sport, doing their own stuff, but like FD or Drift Masters, whoever, isn't shitting on them. They're just letting them do it. I've seen it I don't know enough about the independent reporting on the European side, admittedly. In FD, there are some channels that do a pretty good job. There's another podcast called Circle of Drift that does a really good job of it. He doesn't cover as many FD guys, but a lot of the grassroots stuff. There's a bunch of podcasts that do drifting stuff. Daily Driver Media, who is actually out at Drift Masters this weekend, will like live stream practice from like on the track.
Yeah, that you don't get to see.
Yeah. That to me is what is missing right now in drifting, is like, give me a creator that gives me a really good summary of the Irish Championship, because I can't tune in and watch every Irish Drifting Championship. There was a driver today when I was down at in one of the coves, and he had a drifting shirt on that was an Irish Drifting Championship shirt, and I had to like look up his name, and then I realized the dude's like 7th overall, and I've watched him drive, and I just don't have the time to put all that together.
Same as me with Pro Spec or whatever,
Yeah, there's no way you'd know.
It would help. We're going to go back again. We're going around in a circle, but it would help for that creator to know that I can stand here and do this content for 90 minutes, and that's all I need to be here for.
Yeah,
whereas the variable is a big issue even for that. How can you do it all?
Or even 30, but like you could do it at home. Like you could finish an event.
Well, after the fact.
Yeah, and
but
finish
live
that.
practice or whatever, to be kept up with it is, it needs to be lickety split. It needs to be on time. It needs to be action. And
yeah, I agree. I to me, that's what's missing, because like I learn more about F1 from independent creators than I do from F1 official. Right, and it's weird because I'm talking on an official Formula Drift podcast about this, but I think it's necessary, because I don't want everyone to get their information about the sport specifically from this podcast. I think that's a disservice to the sport, because I can't tell every story, and I'm going to tell the story the way I want to tell it, not the way everybody else wants to tell it.
You and me spoke about a little bit off camera that we would like a technical person there.
Yeah.
That knows what the driver is going through, knows what the car is doing,
100%.
knows why this happened, rather than, more announcer style that it has been.
Yeah.
Where you've got good announcers, but, if you have a technical audience, which F1, everything has a technical audience, and then you have just a consuming audience or whatever.
And then a casual consumer audience.
Exactly, yeah. And then you maybe, with drifting, especially, you have a lifestyle audience, which certainly doesn't want to listen to all the
they just want to talk of, wear the shirts and talk about it.
Yeah. But they will watch it too, but it's a tricky one. It is a tricky sport that way. Most motorsports don't have a lifestyle audience, which, we need to be thankful for. They can be very painful.
Yeah.
They can, try to... I'm a motorsport guy, so, I don't get that side of it at all.
Yeah.
Somewhat, but it is very good for the sport. It's created the sport the way it is. When you look at someone, like, not saying he's a lifestyle guy, but certainly not now, but Adam, we'll say LZ, come and running a whole event off of being a YouTuber, which is unheard of.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, running whole events off it, and no organising body or anything behind it.
Just a dude in a marketing team putting it together. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And getting thousands of people. Yeah. And coming at it from a different way, and a pure lifestyle way,
Yeah. There was still competition, but it was
of course, but
very lighthearted competition.
Yeah, but you didn't, if you had 1 million YouTube followers, you were invited, rather than how many championships have you? The norm.
I mean, we brought Dwayne out.
Dwayne has a lot of championships. Yeah, he brought Dwayne out.
But he doesn't have 1 million subscribers.
Recently. No, he doesn't. But yeah, that is the thing then, because we've obviously had the LZ. I call it Z. I always call it Z.
I do both.
We had that in Mondello, of course. And then you get the pro guys come in with their pro attitude, and all of a sudden they are on it, And then you've got the more casual guys. It's a difficult balance that they have to to
Yeah.
get, you know, and it is more fun, but you know, the pro guys go ridiculous. They just when the helmet goes on, you can't switch out of that mode, you know. They're just winners.
Yeah, it is a weird thing you guys all do, and I'm lumping you into that for sure, where it's like out of the car, in the car, visor down. Those are 3 different people.
Yeah.
Right.
It is. I don't know. You grow up competing, I guess. It's like any competitor, fighter, whatever, you know. You switch to a different mode, and it's one that when you're young, you get so competitive. It's a real masculine thing, you know. You get so competitive to beat your competitor. It's an interesting dynamic I remember when I was young and wanting to win and winning or whatever, and never realizing that it was the guys next to me, his dream also, you know.
Yeah.
So
that's
you're
good.
willing to take his dream away from him to fulfill yours, and you never think of that when you're young. So you come along with maybe a little bit more talent or whatever, and you're crushing other people's dreams at the time. You know, only one person wins.
Yeah.
It's something you think of later in life. You're like, wow, that's pretty heavy. You know, that's deep, and you don't absolutely care one iota that person is struggling to handle that until you experience it yourself, and it's taken away from you. You know, by someone else. You're like, Jesus. At some point, you're like, he's good. You know, that guy is good. Like, I'm going to have to be on it, or you start to all of a sudden second guess what you took so naturally, and that's the beginning of. It's the beginning of maturing, but it can be the beginning of slowing down or realizing or whatever. You know, when you know, a lot of guys thought they were Tanner Faust till they met James Dean. Do you know, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And then you just meet a machine, and you're like, that guy can do the run I just did on his first practice lap. Never mind qualifying lap. You know, and you're like, oh, once you're catching up, it's
It
difficult.
separates people though, because there's some drivers that double down and get better. Like we talk
100%.
about, you know, there's so many eras of drifting, and it's hard to like definitively say this was an era, that was an era. But like Daigo Saito coming in changed everything, and everybody had to everyone had to get better and faster.
Yeah, with the caveat that the tire was total cheating.
The Achilles?
Yeah, we have to just put that out
Okay.
there, like, because I was there at the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, so you want the ins and outs of it. I mean, the Achilles was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
It's still talked about now.
we'd never seen a tire like it.
Yeah. Those 1, 2, 3s were
Yeah.
obscene.
And then his driving style, yeah, whatever. You know, he knew all the tricks of the trade. Very experienced Japanese driver. I think those guys have been doing it so long over there under a certain rule set or whatever. They have a lot more experience than us in tandem driving. No matter how good we are, successful we were or are at it. They've been doing it since the 90s probably and brought up that way. So he knew tricks of how to win that we didn't, or we were. I think we were naive to. I think a lot of my competitors at the time, be it Forsberg and Pollock and Gittin and all that, we'd run each other fairly heads up, you know. There was very little games. And we would always run each other heads up. And Daigo didn't really play by those rules.
Yeah.
A lot of maneuvers, a lot of things to upset you while you chased him. And became very difficult when he had 1,000 horsepower and tires that were twice as sticky or whatever it was. You know, we'll say twice.
Yeah.
And you're needing the speed. He knew how to play the game, and he won that year. Yeah, it was a good recipe. Daigo was always around as well before that. He was always in our pit watching and taking pictures and looking at the cars and looking at the components and all. No stupid dude. And he put together a perfect storm for himself, I think, to come in and do what he did. I think he, personally, I mean, I don't want this to be a Daigo podcast, but, you know, I think somewhere along the way that he kind of, you know, lost the love for it maybe or whatever, and it
maybe
became a bit more casual for him, and that's maybe the Daigo we see today.
Could be.
But
But there's I mean that happens in a lot of motorsports and happens in drifting as well, where it's like, I'm still around, I'm still doing stuff, but it's tough to get that hunger back.
Yeah, it's same with me. Like, you know, I don't feel like going to FD. You know, whereas one time I mentioned to you sitting there with Faust Mill and Hubinet myself and wondering why Sam was thinking of not doing it next year. I was like, how could you even
think of that?
You know, so it changes. But
now you're on the opposite end. You're thinking, how could you want to spend all that money and time to travel to the US and
Well,
make
like
that
I'd
happen.
like to do Drift Masters, you know. I would like to do the whole season, you know. Whether I could put the company through doing the whole season is another thing.
Yeah, we
That's
talked about that too.
biggest
Staffing
issue.
is tough, man.
Yeah, if I could put the company through the whole thing is another thing. But
Yeah.
that you know, someone always has the best tire, so then everyone else is pissed. You know, that we can't get away from that. Okay,
Yeah.
there was probably plenty of years there I took it for granted, and the RT615 was probably the best tire. You know?
Yeah, it was for a bit,
Yeah, and that was fine by me, and I never thought about it. I was just concentrating on what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there was between the 615 and the Hankook or whatever the time was. I don't think there was steps, and I mean mountainous steps
Right.
until the Achilles came in, and that is another issue with drifting is who the hell are Achilles? You know, who the hell are Valino? Like all these companies that are probably damaging real tire companies getting involved.
Right, because they're building something for this.
Yeah, and then someone's going to come along, a Pirelli or whatever, and they're going to be like, we're not going to compete with them. You know, we're not building a tire to compete with a company that doesn't sell any tires in the
Right.
grand scheme of things. So, you know, you look at Drift Masters, how good it's going, the show or whatever, you know, it's really entertaining. Michelin are here, you know, Pirelli, you're talking big companies. Like, are they going to get involved? Absolutely no way. Not a hope in hell. It's just like putting the Volkswagen against your 89 240 SX. They're not going to put the flagship tire against something that's going to obliterate it.
Right, because it just doesn't look good.
No,
And
it's
they're not going
gonna-
to, and they're not going to put in the time and money to build a tire for
They're
the
not
sport.
going to stop a production line to build a tire for the sport. No way. So I think that hurts it as well. These Chinese tire brands are hurting it with their absolute above Formula One level rubber
Yeah.
to go as fast as we're going. It's not going to last. It's not a sustainable model. That company is going to go away at some stage because it's just a flash in the pan. It doesn't work for me. You know, the tire needs to come back so other companies could get involved, just like the car.
Do you
needs
think
to
like
come
a limit to like 300 tread wear is it?
back. We can talk treadwear all we want. It's just a number on the
I
side
know,
of a
and
tire.
it's a number that okay. I mean, a specific durometer then.
Probably.
Like, is that where we get to? Is like it is.
Durometer is difficult too. It's under conditions and it's temperature based and blah,
Yeah,
blah,
but
blah, blah.
what's it take to throw all the tires in the same room and test them all at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, you do need to test them. You need to test them outside of the room. You need to test them in a lab first and make sure we're all on the same thing.
Right,
But
because you don't want a tire to come in that like seems fine and then they show up and they're like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
this isn't quite the same."
like, look, the easiest thing to do is have a control tire. That doesn't fix, what I just said either. But
Yeah, because now nobody comes in and does
now
it.
no
'cause you
one
gotta-
comes in. But a lot of series,
Yeah,
almost every series has a control tire.
Prospec is a control tire. It's
Motorsport
255
is a
GT.
control tire.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
There's very rarely been two tires competing at the top level of motorsport. Formula One once, MotoGP
and that didn't go
once.
very well.
No, that didn't last either.
So what GP was that? Like, was it Vegas or there was one where like
Indianapolis was it?
well, it
where
was
just-
Indianapolis. There were 7 drivers.
Yeah, the tires
Yeah.
couldn't do the bank
'Cause they were
the
exploding.
biggest flop ever.
Yeah.
But
That was it. This episode's really good. I'm just going to remind you, use podcast 25, podcast 25 at checkout when you get FD merch. Save yourself 20%. That's it. Now back.
no, the tire isn't helping. These Chinese tires, they're not the answer. They're all imported. We can, get on economics and all that, but they just companies probably don't even exist. It's a strange one. Like if you wanted to buy a set of them right now for your street car, you probably can't. I don't see that as being a good model for going forward.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not. How you need tire companies to be. It's a tire sport, like
Yeah.
every motorsport is, but this one is consuming tires at a rate. Without tire sponsors, we're in big trouble.
We're in huge trouble, yeah.
Yeah. So when I did it at one point, Jesus, there must have been nearly 10.
Yeah.
Cooper and Hankook and Falken. The list goes. Bridgestone, and
Yeah.
there was so many, and they all wanted a piece of it. And it makes it sound even better at the time I did it, all the time. But right now, especially Drift Masters, FD, fair enough. I can't tell you all the tire companies in FD, but at least it's something that kind of.
pretty even right now. There's not one.
And I think there was pushback from FD to not allow some of the
Yep.
tire companies to get involved. So
There's a couple that I know have been like knocking on their door and they're like, well, what else are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
show us what else you're doing.
and let's hope that experience comes from the Achilles thing, because that was just not good at the time. You know, Achilles had not even a flagship-looking tire with a different rubber in it.
Right.
It was just looked like a mud and snow tire almost. And all of a sudden, this thing was like, wow, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
And to kind of walk the field, so to speak. I remember, like, back then, Daigo's English was a lot worse. So he didn't listen to the drivers' briefings either, and he still won the championship. Like, so, you know, so it's like drifting is drifting. A good driver can always do drifting and be
He had
close.
a very different style too. It was very, you know, like at the car and almost
It was,
intimidating
but
in the chase.
I think a lot of the Europeans go that way too. I think James and Connor, they get criticised for that a lot, not being as much angle as the lead car. That's another thing that annoys me. The lead car all of a sudden is this amazing thing that's just perfect all the time. And winning by lead runs, we must remember drifting is two cars. It has to have a chase driver, you know.
Yeah.
I think too much emphasis is put on the lead car.
Okay.
Yeah, you must have a chaseable lead. Of course you must. But in tandem, it is about the chase car. The guy in front is expected to do the qualifying line 100%, you know?
Yeah.
But let's not leave him win because he was, a little bit deeper, a little bit whatever. You know, I think too much emphasis is put on the lead car now and judging the lead car run while there's tandem going on. And it is all about the chase car. It always has been for me. D1 would, back in the day, D1 now is electronic. I think it's crap. No one watches it, I think, anyway. It's totally, you know, D1 has
DOS
become...
box and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's become hard to be relevant with it because they've stuck with being in a different language. And it's not a very well exported product in
that's a good
other
way of putting it,
languages. FD USA suffers from the same thing as FD to an even more extent. I think it goes on forever. I think I've tuned in a few times, never seen a car drift. Turned it off again. But what was I saying?
You went off on a fun tangent. That was great.
I did go on a tear there. Took down a lot of things. No, it's what was it?
We were talking about tires, and I mean, we were talking about Achilles kind of running away with the show, and then then we talked into the way that Daigo was driving, and then you talked about the chase.
The shallow chase, but the chase car being the show.
Yeah.
It is the show. The lead car is not the show.
Okay.
The time for leading has passed. That's qualifying. Not in FD anymore.
Right.
It's not, but the lead car is out there to do the job, fill your zones, not do anything stupid. Mm-hmm. It is about being on someone's door. That's what gets the fans off their seat. A guy doing a perfect chase will never get the fans off their seat. It is about Conor Shanahan beating the doors off you.
Yeah.
And making an impact. That is what drifting has to be. Otherwise, it's just qualifying, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the emphasis needs to go back. As I said, back in the day with D1, that's where I went.
It feels like the rule set changed definitively when James first came in, won that championship. You know,
no, before that we had the unmentionable FD year that no one counts. Poor Michael Essa gets awful slack for that, but he won.
He won
on angle.
Yeah,
1 year when it became extremely important to have angle.
Yeah, I agree.
And he deserved to win. That was the criteria. You know?
Yeah, and he met that criteria and
he
won
met
it.
the criteria,
and
and he did a job better than anyone else.
Yeah.
No, but it wasn't a sustainable criteria. You know, it wasn't the most entertaining product for.
Well, it was tough. Yeah, it was tough.
But it was just maximum angle.
But that's knowing the rule set and driving to it.
Yeah,
right.
Nothing to do with him, but it was ridiculous angle, no speed. You know, it just wasn't good. You know, when you watch Long Beach now, and you know, James is like wall to wall, flat, wide open. And it's just like wow. You know.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's speed should be judged again. But just back to the D1 thing, the chase car. Like, if both cars were even, it was always a 6-4 to the chase car. It always got that advantage. And then the other guy got the same rule book, so it would be a one more time, you know?
Yeah.
I do really miss 6-4, 7-3. I think it's just so easy to follow. And I think anyone in any language could follow it rather than...
Just based on that.
Absolute madness.
Yeah. It's similar to, like, if you do well the 10-9 round in boxing or UFC, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, somewhat, yeah. But even 5-all is a draw. You know, you can watch that in any language and try to follow it. Yeah. Whereas when it's, it's just out of 100 or it's whatever, I don't know. It becomes more difficult. Like, scores for non-English speaking people, we'll say, for the USA or whatever.
Yeah.
Would be much more helpful. I think someone from Japan can turn on NASCAR and know who won, and someone from Japan.
You can see them come across the line. I don't know. I don't know if you ever watched kind of the experiment that was Iron Drift King last year and their like crazy judging system.
I tuned in and lost the will to live and turned it off.
It was very long,
But it was on all day. Like it was even worse than all day.
Double, yeah. I
I
think
tuned in a few times and never knew where I was, and I felt like I didn't speak the language. You know, there was tandem going on, but I never knew where in the bracket we were. We could have been anywhere
because there's 3 or 4 different brackets.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah,
What I did like from that, I mean, the event itself was insane to say the least, but like that point-based deduction system I thought was really interesting, and then like putting all the judges together to do that both for lead and chase was kind of interesting. It was a little overcomplicated, but that does go back to your 5-5, 6-4 kind of
Simple.
lead chase system. Yeah.
I don't think it is rocket science. Like it isn't. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most judging is just a feeling anyway. Like halfway through the run, you kind of know which way you're going. If you're separated from the other judges, you definitely know which way you're going. If you're allowed to speak, there's room for a little bit of manipulation either way.
You think it should be a separated system, or
I not so much. I think it shouldn't be as complex. I think we can all watch a run, and most of us that are into it probably get most of them right anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be that complex for the viewer. Once again, we get caught up in what we're doing and we know everything about it, and we expect too much from the casual viewer.
Yeah.
To know everything about it.
Where I think it gets weird is like incidents and like checkups and stuff like that. That's where I think the situations get really, really strange.
Well, then, it becomes a 7-3 or whatever. It's always the way it's been. You know, if the lead driver doesn't fulfill his obligations and, moves over here and obstructs the chase, well then 7-3, 8-2, whatever it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's just easier. I do have one massive, instant live stream delete mode is when, and it seems to be just an FD thing, is when one judge goes for one driver, one judge goes for the other, and one judge goes one more time. I cannot handle that in my head.
Okay. Because that shouldn't be the case?
I don't see how it can be the case. Someone needs to explain to me how that happens.
Well, I think it's one judge doing a 6-4, one doing a 6-4 the other direction, one doing a 5-5.
That's a one more time.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we end up doing.
No, but it shouldn't. If it's a 6-4, you're talking 60%, 40%, or whatever. You want to split it a little bit less than that. Well, then, like, 2 have to go for one guy, or there's 3 one more times, or there's 2 one more times on one side. You cannot have 2 judges disagree and one guy think it was close.
I think it's just people weighting a situation heavier than another
But he
situation.
can't if he's in the same driver's briefing with all the drivers for 2 days and they've gone through the criteria and told the drivers how to win the battle.
Yeah.
Everyone's in the same room. The 3 guys at the top of the room are telling the guys how to win the battle. Everyone in that room is under the same criteria to win the battle. Then all of a sudden you get a 33% split in the judging. That can't happen. To me, that can't happen. At that point, the judges have disagreed on what it took to win that battle. So how do the drivers know what it takes to win that battle? If it was massive errors, it's one more time.
Yeah.
If it was a zero on each side, it's still a one more time. If it's close, it's a one more time. It can't be 7-3, 5-5, 7-3.
I guess where my argument would go is that the way that we're at with drifting right now is so nitpicky, like how close we're getting with everything.
One more time.
I guess.
If it's close, if it's nitpicky, it's a one more time.
I think we're just going to have an event where it's just all one more times then.
Well,
we're complaining about how long the event
I don't
is,
think
if that's
so.
the case.
I have no problem with one more times and all that, but that decision happens like once every whatever. It's rare. I don't think it happens.
Yeah,
I don't think it's happened anywhere else, actually. I don't think it's happened in Drift Masters.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
But it's, I can't compute that as a driver. How one judge thought I won, one judge thought he won, and one judge thought we were too close, they couldn't be separated. At what point does the one more time, at what point does...
why didn't you
does
go
it
one more
become
time
a
then?
6-4? Was it 50? Was it 5.9? That's a one more time.
Yeah.
So that one is a tricky one for me to compute. I certainly would have some questions afterwards on how that happens.
I think anytime it has happened, there's been questions. So
yeah, okay, but the drivers need confidence in the 3 guys in the box, because drifting. I mean, my God, drifting, people love to give out about judging. Like, they just adore it. It becomes
It's
a
the worst
pastime.
job in the world, man.
It becomes a pastime after. I've done judging, and I know what it's like. But, you know, you need the confidence in the guys in the box, you know, and the drivers love to give out too. Jesus, they're the worst almost, you know.
Oh yeah, judges are The drivers or sometimes their staff.
Yeah, or
their crew.
their fans. You
Yeah,
know,
their fans are brutal.
And a driver,
Which is great,
just
but-
listening to his crew and his fans, all of a sudden gets up. You know, they can be riled up by the same
Yeah,
opinion,
of
and they're not
course.
getting another one. But you have to stay away from that three-way split. Like, that's not a good place to be judging wise, in my opinion. I
That's
don't
fair.
see that very often. It's popped
Doesn't
up a
happen
couple
often.
times.
Well, I mean, it
doesn't.
happened with the James Dean, Frederick Osbo, and Atlanta thing, right? I think that's the most recent one. Yeah.
Right. That
So-
happened as well, yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
just at that point, it becomes, it's so vague,
Yeah.
it's just hard for everyone to compute. You know, the adrenaline is flowing, and the loser is always the one at the end of the day that goes, well, how
the
did
hell?
that happen, you know?
Yeah. Why did they get in that place in the first place?
And I think that's a product of the judging going unbelievably complex, you
Yeah.
know, and it not being simple to follow
I think-
criteria-wise.
I think it's a cycle where it gets complex because people want answers as to why something happens, and they want it in the rule book in case it ever happens again, and then we just keep doing that over and over again
Yeah.
until the rule book is massively thick. I mean, 2 years ago, FD threw out, let's say the rule book was 50 pages, and they cut it down to like 11.
Right.
And they did a massive reset, but we're already adding.
It was needed.
And
yeah.
it's all weird situations. If the lead driver's doing this to do that, to like, there's been a massive oversimplification. I think some of it is like having Vernon having a very predominant European judge come in has been really, really good in a lot of ways. But I do think he has a perspective that may not be the traditional American perspective that we have. You've got Reese, who's come in, who is Chelsea DeNofa's championship winning spotter, a drifting instructor, and a driver himself, right? Never went pro or anything like that, but like incredibly knowledgeable, very good eyes on him, understands drifting from a good perspective, takes zero shit in driver's meeting. You would actually get a kick out of it. We're actually starting to show
I see on my YouTube, you
Yeah.
can watch the
You can-
drivers' meeting.
which I think is a really good thing.
Oh, it sounds boring.
For some people, but you get the hyper fans who love it.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Right? Like the views on it are pretty good. And you look at the comments and like it is the 1%.
I hate drivers' briefings. They're just so.
Yeah,
Same
but
thing.
it's needed. And then you've got Brian, who's been around forever, and then Robbie, who's an ex-driver and a judge, and more from the Japanese style of things. So I think some of it is you have multiple viewpoints on one sport that come from very different backgrounds. So to have that consensus is tough.
Mm-hmm.
And in 99% of cases, you have a pretty good consensus.
You do, yeah.
But I understand what you're getting at.
You are at the same drivers' briefing as all the drivers too. You know, they must be precise and concise
Right.
about it. When they disagree, it just leaves too much.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it happening more often if the judges were divided between, like, let's say you have a line, an angle,
Yeah.
and a style judge. You might see that happen more often because one driver may have really good line, one may have really good style, and
Yeah.
they both had the exact same angle, and that's why you would get a natural.
Yeah. Are they mic'd together when in FD?
What do you
the
mean, Mike?
judges?
Are they together?
Like you and me?
No, they don't have like headsets like that, but they're all sitting next to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. They're not in communication with each other.
They can talk. They do talk, but it's not like a push button. What we're doing right now.
Right. Okay.
So
and in Drift Masters, are they?
they're headsets. Yeah.
So they're talking through the run, I would imagine.
I think
that's what
so,
we
yeah.
used to when we were headseted. Just you
I
get
don't.
it.
All I get now is David Class every once in a while has to correct me when I'm wrong about something, and that's about all I get at this point. So, I mean, what's interesting, I'm going to do a whole video at the end of this year, kind of comparing the two series. I think because it's necessary, and I don't want to spoil the ending, but I don't think either one is perfect, and I think
course
they can
not.
both learn from each other in some ways. And there's certain things that FD does that are absolutely incredible that Drift Masters could learn from, and vice versa. But what is interesting is like the conversations that I have with the judges are so similar. Like it's very
Same problems.
same problems, and I think the way the European side judges things is different than the way FD does. FD puts such an emphasis on line over everything else, whereas European seems to be proximity over everything
And
else.
it used to, FD's gone through its stages. It's
It
come
used to be
line now.
proximity. Well, it used to be proximity, and then I mean, this
We
is
used
going.
to do speed.
Yeah, it used to be speed.
Well, we used to have speed. It wasn't all about speed, but we used to measure it, and D1 used to encourage it and give you points for it.
I would like to see speed as there is a spot on the track, on every track, where speed is so necessary to the commitment, right? Whether that's through a transition or something. What I would like to have is where there is a minimum speed you need to be at, and if you are below that, it's a massive hit to the judging appeal.
Yeah.
And I believe that would stop drivers from checking up in certain places, doing some strange things.
The lights have been helpful. Those FD lights.
The decel lights
they've been really helpful.
Yeah.
They look good.
It's cool, and it's cool to see.
They look to work good. I'm not sure about the aesthetic of it, but it works really well.
It helps a lot in the collisions, right? Because you'll see it and you're like, oh, this guy just slammed into somebody. And you're like, yeah, but if you look at the lead driver and he's decelling in a spot he's not supposed to.
Not supposed to, yeah.
And the way these cars and how dynamic these cars are now, it's very difficult to even tell that they're slowing down from the outside, and everything happens this fast.
And again, I think, they are back in line with what I think. It's visual. It's simple.
Keep it simple.
Someone can watch and go, well, the announcer said those lights aren't supposed to be red there. I understand.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's all technicalities, you get lost.
Yeah.
And then having to, not only that, but you have to explain the technical decision afterwards, and that takes more time and expands the show. And
it's usually something that's falling on my shoulders too. Like I have the rule book either up on my tablet or a physical copy on me at pretty much all times.
Or even going to the judges to explain what they thought about it, which isn't a bad thing. But
I like
what I mean?
like it.
When there's a lot of technical decisions, you have to go more times and then longer.
Yeah, I really think the sport has gotten so close now that we have to do that more often, because it would be a one more time every battle. It's that good now, where it almost feels like there needs to be a one more time almost every battle.
I'm not so sure I agree with that.
Okay.
I think most battles are decided in my opinion.
Do you tend to agree with the judges' decisions on most of them?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I do tend to agree with the judges, 95% of the time, almost all the time actually.
Yeah, every once in a while you're like, I don't get that.
Normally from me not paying attention probably, but
Fair
I
enough.
actually am in a great place where, I don't have anything on the line, and I'm very passionate about some of the Irish guys and how well they do, but not to a point where I'm
You're biased.
up in arms over something. I get to, I've been watching for a long time, and it goes either way many times, and it comes around and it goes around, and it all evens itself out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You get some, you don't get some. The more of a storm in a teacup you make over the ones you don't get, maybe the more you don't get the next time.
Yeah,
chill out, calm down.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, because I think there's something to that, where this happens in a lot of sports. This happens in like hockey and in baseball, and I'm sure football as well, or soccer or whatever, where whenever you have a referee or an official or a judge, they're going to make mistakes. Nobody's infallible.
Everyone the drivers are making mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so.
It's not an event full of perfect runs. I think the best thing a driver could do is, in a very calm manner, explain to the judges what they see. I think the worst thing you can do is lose your shit or get on Facebook or Instagram and blow up a judge and cause a bunch of problems. That to me is not going to fix the problem. But if you go up and you're like, hey,
I agree with you. It needs to be post-event.
Yeah.
When the adrenaline isn't flowing or whatever. Because anything said at that time doesn't matter.
No, and it's except with the wash at that point.
Post-event or whatever, there should be no, geez, remember the oh my God, in FD, the protests years. Remember when you could protest?
Oh, they're gone now. Yeah, that got ridiculous.
They were just so bad. And you would protest just because you might get a decision. Do you know, it could go either way.
Well, they tried fixing it where it was like you had to pay like $500 or something like that. And I think that helped a lot. But it became basically just part of your budget for the year. You're like, we need to have $500 for every round because when we lose, we're going to protest.
That was bad. That was a bad time. And again, it ruined the show because you stops and breaks and then battles being rerun or whatever.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you. But I was always, like a very level-headed minus the adrenaline. Yeah. So you could when the adrenaline is flowing, anything can happen in motorsport, and some guys more than others. But once after the fact, you must realize I could damage myself a lot more here than I could, by asking questions or approaching this how I'm going to approach it.
Yeah.
Than I could by doing it this way. So I think, okay, I'm not 20 anymore. It's easy to say that now. When you're that young, maybe
you're the one
who
keeps calling yourself old here. I set it up in the beginning. You just
I never
keep
told
it
you my age. I just said I'm not 20.
You look. I mean, I think if you shaved clean, we'd probably look the same age.
Okay.
Yeah.
What age are you?
34.
Oh, yeah, you're not that much younger than me.
Yeah.
I'm only 35. Yeah. So, yeah, giving out about judging and stuff is as old as drifting, you know.
Yeah.
But I think some
And
guys,
officials in football
lots of
and-
guys need to take chill pill and realize, you know, okay, that's it. It's on me. I left it in doubt. You know, I left it close to being. Well, I need to do better rather than blame everyone else and listen to people around you that are just going to be on your side anyway.
Yeah,
you know,
echo chamber.
Yeah, you just don't get the right perspective, do you?
No. You should ask the driver that beat you if you really want to know.
Yeah, he's not giving out about it.
Yeah.
It's rare. You know, I've never seen someone win an event and come out online and go, "Oh, thanks very much, but I thought I should have lost that battle." You know, it's never happened. Like,
Yeah. I think drivers will say like, "Oh, I really didn't think I won that one," but it's almost like a canned statement where they do it to like kind of be humble in the moment. And
maybe
it's like,
so. Yeah. Do they really believe it?
Yeah, it's funny chatting with drivers and realizing that like you guys are so media trained now. I kind of wish I was there back in the day when like you guys weren't as media trained and people were, you know, kicking fenders and losing their shit and throwing helmets at each other. And
That rarely happened though.
it happened.
Yeah, I lost my cool big time with Tanner Faust once.
Really
Big time. Like, yeah. I actually he's told me afterwards that I was talking to him for X amount of time and he didn't get one word in English. I just went pure Irish, like, but he cut me off and turned into me, so I blew him out of the way. But of course I lost 10-0 then. So I lost. So I was the one who didn't benefit from it. He went through, even though he cut me off. So but he never did it again. You know?
Yeah.
No, seriously, you know.
Yeah, I know what you're
sometimes,
saying.
you know, it's the you know, if you
Gotta do it.
Yeah, you're gonna leave him bully you. Well, then he's gonna keep bullying you. You know, he's gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
So he never did it again. We always went heads up afterwards, and he actually said it to me afterwards. I did cut in on you, you know. So
Yeah.
it was plain as day, you know. But it would have been good to capture the moment properly. But I like that too. You know, there needs to be a bad guy, and there needs to be someone who's, you know, it's been NASCAR or whatever.
Yeah.
They always have someone that the fans love to hate. It's nothing wrong.
We don't have that right now.
There's
though.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
As long as that person knows the character he's playing, and I mean, he's not playing a character for pantomime. He knows who he is.
Yeah.
He's not going to appeal to these people. He must accept a few boos, but just, you know, at the end of the day, that's not him. You look at, you know,
Yeah.
Kyle Busch would have been the guy in NASCAR when I was there, and
Yeah.
so many people hated him, but
Yeah.
that's not really him. But he took that character on and became that guy, and he was part of the show.
Yeah.
And it was a show, and you don't have that in drifting because, again, I guess if you push someone, you're going to get a 0 and you're going to lose. So it's very hard to make contact with someone or whatever and win.
Yeah. We really don't have a bad guy right now.
No.
I think we're missing out on that.
I do too, but it's going to be hard to be the bad guy in competition and be successful or whatever.
Admittedly, I was kind of hoping it would be Jack.
Yeah.
I really did because
My brother always said that Jack is the guy for that. Like, my brother always said it.
so tough because he's an absolute sweetheart.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
Oh,
Jack is
he's
cool.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there was,
But he could be that guy, though.
he could be,
He
and
could
he
be.
is in some scenarios. Like I caught him after I think it was Long Beach, and he went off on me, and like not mad at me, mad at the scenario.
Yeah.
And I looked at him like, why isn't this you on camera? Like, why are you not recording this? Like,
it's
why?
hard.
And he's like, I can't do that. I'm like, but like, we're missing it. There's a few drivers that I think JTP was kind of that for a little bit. And it was just,
He lost it with Daigo, remember?
yeah, exactly.
Just because Daigo was doing that driving that
Yeah.
I explained. So,
But I think that,
But the problem with us back then was it was, you know, JTP and myself and a good few other drivers. It was like, can the judges please just see this for once and give him a 0?
Yeah.
You know, for one. But it didn't happen for the whole year, basically.
Yeah.
And it continued. So JTP finally had enough of it in Florida that time.
yeah,
Which was, he got fined a lot of money that time.
I think so. Yeah, it was a big deal.
Which was, you know, none of us offered to give him some money at the time either. But fair play to him for being the one that kind of, you know, went to kill him afterwards because we had enough of that being rewarded.
Yeah,
And for some reason, the judges couldn't see it. Like, his no brake lights, but his off throttle moments were horrendous, you know. So that was another one, yeah. You're going back to judges and you know, experienced judges or guys that know what's going on is quite important because there's nothing worse than a brake check, you know, and it's not caught on, you know. That's a big issue. And your lights solve that. I mean, Daigo, that championship year wouldn't have a hope with the current
No, it'd be different. But you changed the rule set, like kind of going back to James's first championship. He won that championship with less angle, but all the proximity.
Yeah.
And that's when they then said, okay, well, you need to have matching angle.
Mm-hmm.
And then his second championship, he won by matching angle, but almost superseding the car.
The front wheels, yeah.
Right. And then they went, okay, but you need to have the same line. And then he won his third championship, basically what is a perfect drift for an entire season. And then COVID happened. He couldn't come back around. And now, you know, he's still doing that. But like we've changed the rule set to try and nerf a driver. You know, in some cases, nerfing a tire or something like that. It's what had to happen. Even the rule change after Daigo's championship, kind of, it did get fixed after a little bit. It's
just famous stories in motorsport. You know, the rule makers are always catching up with the rule breakers, so to speak.
Yeah, but that's motorsport, right?
Yeah, they added minimum weight to the Saturn Sky halfway through a season one year, and absolutely screwed me big time.
Took off wheel sensors too. I don't know if I don't think it was you, but there was always rumors of people running traction control.
We had no wheel sensors. I can tell you that straight out.
Okay.
I tell you right now if we did.
No, I know. Yeah,
it's something I always wanted, but we never did. You can hear traction control, so it's easy to know who had it.
Yeah,
if they had, but you can hear it. Like it's fairly obvious. You can hear from the exhaust note, but that weight was. I think mine was probably one of, if not the only cars that had to put weight. And I don't know, there was I think a couple of, you know, top drivers that were quite vocal about the Saturn, because it was just at the time.
It was so fast.
It was agile, and you know, it was 2,500 pounds at the time with the sprint car engine, I think.
Crazy.
And yeah, it was mad. So they got their way and had to put a load of weight into it, and then you could only put a certain amount of ballast in, came in after that. So then you couldn't put the weight into it. So then they hid the weight nicely. And I think they got caught doing that too. I'm not sure. 100%.
I know someone got caught putting weights in the rocker panels.
Yeah, I think that was us, I think.
Was it? Okay.
I think that was our
like big blocks of tungsten or something.
Tungsten, yeah. It's good stuff.
It's good stuff. Very expensive for ballast.
Very expensive.
But very heavy.
Very heavy.
Yeah.
You need the least amount of it nearly to be at that ballast. So it's the right material, but it's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's been some fun stories. The wheel sensors, traction control. I always try and get out of Kevin, because obviously, you know, Kevin.
There's been very few fines. I think the Mustang was the big fine, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
With the, I think, suspension point altered, was it?
Yeah.
That was a big one, and that kind of put a stop. And you had the tires being glued to the rims.
Yeah, I think that was Denofa with the wheel glue on that one.
Was that Mustang as well?
No, that was back when he was in the BMW.
BMW was it?
Yeah, he was using like a bead seal to keep it.
I like that. That's good thinking, you know.
It wasn't in the rule book.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That is a good one, yeah.
There's been some fun ones.
There has been, yeah. Yeah, that screwed my championship year, putting the weight in the car. So. But again, it just, we had a thing, we made two wing mounts as well for the GT wing, and they were not in plates. There was an in-plate diameter rule, but the wing mounts were over that rule, but then we had to change them, and it was protested, and we had to like pocket it out in the CNC to make it porous, we'll say.
Okay. Were you doing that on purpose to like check the car up or anything?
No, it wasn't at the time. That was when it went from being a horrible looking standard Sky, we'll say.
Right.
And it finally got, I don't even know if you remember this, but it got like carbon doors, a GT wing, black wheels.
Yeah.
It looked kind of badass after that. And that just happened because I won. The minute you win, the decisions became a lot easier.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, and we would have won the championship that year easy. I think that was the first year we went on the big tire. That car actually was built on a 255, would you believe? 700 horsepower, 255, and it was just, you could pick any gear in the gearbox and it just wouldn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
And then we went to 275, and it was, you know, we learned so much. The 20 millimeters of tire was just night and day.
Yeah.
And we would have won that championship except for me being in the same team as the other two Mustangs, so they went on 295s overnight, and they beat me. Then I think that might have been one of JR's championship years, but as an independent team, unfortunately, me and Ian at the time or whatever, we went up in the tire size to learn and did the data, and then unfortunately the teammates benefited from the work, and
Happens.
it didn't work out for me. Yeah, but that's part of being a team, but it's a difficult one to accept when you're so selfishly driven as you have to be. You know?
You have to, just to be a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did Sears get involved? Because I think that was like such a massive sponsorship.
Well, they were involved before I came.
Okay.
So they had, actually there was a Saturn before me, if you remember, was it Ben Schwartz?
Yep.
And that was built by, I forget who that was built by. Cool looking thing. It had a roof and things like that. But I think he crashed it. And that was a Sears car.
Okay.
And then, was there someone else Sears? But they were there when I arrived. And then once I did well in the Corolla, I became the guy that got the next big money thing.
Yeah.
And then Sears needed someone to put their hat on, with Discount Tire.
Yep.
With Dye, and then Sears. And was there another one at the time? There was blue one.
I'm going back.
RX-8 with Seigo Yamamoto, was it? And he had a...
I can't remember who that
or
was.
something battery or something, I don't know. But
Falken
had their kind of dealers that way, do you know?
Right.
And we had a dealer car, and then we became... I hadn't a clue how big Sears were. There's no Sears over here. I hadn't a clue.
You didn't realize what you got into.
No, not a clue. And then just, going around America, realizing there's one of these everywhere.
Yeah. Not anymore. They're gone.
No, not anymore. But yeah, it was a good one. Didn't know what we had at the time, but just too focused on...
It's like having Walmart now.
Yeah, it was just a 19, 20-year-old kid from Ireland that wanted to drive cars, and someone was willing to pay him. Like, it just, went over my head a little bit, and just concentrating on... Like, I just get so annoyed at losing,
Yeah.
And I see an awful lot of myself in the guys local today, when, like, you're just so annoyed at losing. You're looking at me like, chill out, like, it'll be fine. The next one is just around the corner. Focus on that one, You just spend too much time, transfixed on what just happened.
It's easy to, though.
It is, yeah. Especially when you think you should have done better, or as we touched on, everyone around you says, "Oh, you got that one." It's like, well, look, you didn't.
I think that's one of the most damaging things. Like, I've seen spotters where they're like, "Oh, no, you did good." I'm like, "Why are you telling them that? That was a shit run."
Yeah.
Like,
but that goes for like parents at a soccer match, their kids, it's just the same thing, isn't it? You can't see past the blinkers around the whole thing. You can't see past your guy.
Or you're so afraid to hurt their feelings, but meanwhile you're just hurting their performance.
Maybe so, yeah.
Right? Because I've heard the way that Jack and Connor talk to each other, and it's brutally honest.
Nice.
And if they do well, like it's great. The first ones to say, "Hey, you did well," but like one or two mistakes, like it's crazy. I think Connor
and they're getting pretty experienced now, and they're young.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of driving,
Yeah, you forget. Yeah, I think you forget very quickly how young both of them are.
Yeah. Same with James. He's so experienced at this stage.
Yeah.
Like, he is just,
I hate that he's younger than me. Because I'm like, you're just so
You've
far
achieved nothing.
Yeah, no, I know. That's exactly what I feel like. I'm like, what have I done with my life? Like, he's won basically every championship he's ever entered into at this point.
Yeah. Will we ever see someone beat his tally? Like,
I don't know.
I hope not.
I mean, for Irish pride, I hope not. But
no, not for Irish pride. The dominance isn't good for any sport. You look at Sebastian Loeb, Michael Schumacher. From a entertainment point of view, we've spoken on the length of the broadcast. It must be for the fan, and any sport that gets dominated by someone. Now, look, James, I think he had it a little bit easier in previous years. I think it's much more difficult now.
Yeah.
But like, it's not good for the sport when someone is
it's
7
tough.
in a row or something. I know.
Lewis Hamilton or even the Max Verstappen era.
What's the point?
It is tough. It is tough in that, but it is also, it feels better after when you realize you lived and got to witness a dynasty.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But in the moment, you're like, cool, it's the James. I make jokes about it because we do the Podium podcast, and I'm like, oh, it's the James Dean show, and I'm a special guest on it.
Yeah.
But
his show.
Yeah, it's his show. I mean, not always though. But then you start finding yourself like cheering against him, where you're like, he goes out early, and you're like, oh shit, this is a different show now. Like, what's going to happen, right?
That's always something you see it last weekend in Mondello.
Yeah,
it's not nice either. Sometimes when it's such built up that he's out, it becomes such a big deal for everyone, and then you see people kind of, not wanting him to lose, but you know what I mean. That kind of feeling where someone different is what you want to be winning, we'll say. It's the same in every sport.
Yeah, as
Every
terrible as it
sport.
sounds, he can't be the greatest forever.
No, you can't be. But he can be the greatest for a long. This sport, I think, has longevity. If it lasts.
Yeah.
But like you can do this sport. Let's it's not that physical of a sport. The demand is only for seconds, not minutes or hours.
Yeah.
So to be on your game, I wonder at what point does your reaction time go a little bit that you lose performance.
Yeah. What age or how much work or how much sleep deprivation or stress or whatever.
But I'm 40. Just let it out there now. So I think what first goes is kind of your want to, not your want to win, but like I'm
hunger.
not going to put that much time into this thing again. You know what I mean?
You're not up until 3 a.m. doing it. You're like, it's midnight, I'm going home.
It's like, whatever, And especially when it's subjective sport.
Yeah.
That's even worse. Again,
Yeah.
like when you do it for so long, you long for a checkered flag again. And then when you get the checkered flag, you're like, oh, drifting is kind of cool. There's a lot of spectators and you get the crowd buzz and all that. You go a lot of checkered flag racing and there's no crowd. So, the subjectiveness, that's, again, coming back to simplifying it. If everyone was more in line, then it would be easier to swallow as a sport, because when
you can see.
When you lose and you don't understand it, and that happens over your career, over a period of years, it's hard to still stay in love with it. Like, I don't know how James has stayed at his level for this long, and the amount of time he was into it, and the amount of flights, and my God. Like,
hotels and rental cars.
it sounds awful to me, whereas, 20 years ago it sounded amazing to me.
Yeah.
Right now that, I don't do one thing I don't want to know at this stage of my life, for nothing. Like,
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on here. I'm
you're
glad
welcome.
I'm
You're
glad
welcome.
I fit you.
I've been waiting to see this hat in person for years. How many hats have you?
Oh, this one? Well, the original is in my office in a box.
Right.
And these ones I usually change them out like once every 2 events.
Right.
And then I'll sign it.
I could just see like
give it to a kid.
100 of them all the same somewhere.
That would be funny. What is interesting is I have like I originally used to wear another brand's hat, and they sponsored me for a year, which was super cool. And they sent me like a couple hundred hats and all this. And then they didn't re-sign me, so then I had to develop my own hat. So I have all the prototypes of that hat.
It's
in
got
my
your
office.
initials on it.
Yeah,
just noticed.
exactly.
No, that's too far
It's,
for a hat.
what?
like-
That's too far.
That's too far.
You have your initials on your hat. You've got your company initials
Not
on your
only
hat.
do we have to see this hat in FD, but we have to see it in Drift Masters now.
Yeah.
So there's no going away from it.
I was tempted to change the color for Drift Masters, but I ultimately did. I did a test where I wore a same color but different style hat, and nobody recognized it.
Good.
Or sorry. They
recognize you.
they recognize the color. They don't recognize the style. So like I could wear a baseball cap in the same color, and it would be a very similar level of recognition.
No, it has to be the beanie hat.
The toque?
It wouldn't look the same.
I know. It's not the best decision when it's hot, but I mean in Mount it was great. It was perfect. It was nice and chilly, a little bit of rain, a little mist for a
got
bit.
really hot at the end, didn't it?
Yeah, but I'm
some
in
reason.
an air-conditioned container, so I'm fine.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Royalty. Yeah.
I wouldn't
Royalty.
go
now.
that far. Wouldn't go that far.
Announcer royalty.
No.
We'll all get sick of you now because you're on everything.
That's why I almost didn't do it.
That's how it works.
No, that's why I originally told Dave Egan no.
Yeah.
And I said everyone is going to get sick of me.
You can't say no because you're coming to. Sorry, no, you're coming to the best championship in the world.
Oh.
So I put it out there. So
Remember which podcast
I'm on the
this
wrong
is?
podcast.
Ah.
So you can't say no. Like you can't say no to things like that. You have to experience it, even if it's just for a short amount of time.
Yeah, thanks for announcing my retirement early. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I
No one will miss you when you leave because they'll be sick of you.
Yeah, no, that was my biggest fear. Still my biggest fear is that people are going to get sick of me. But it is what it is, and once that happens, because I'm the shiny new toy right now.
It's a tricky one. Like, can you? What announcers do you get in F1?
What do I listen
American
to?
ones? Or?
I'll switch through depending on, because there's the F1 global broadcast, and then there's like F1's proper broadcast.
Right.
So like Alex Jakes is a lot of it,
Right.
but I'll rotate through. Like I'll listen to Brundle or
I like Brundle. I can listen to him, but the main commentator, I just can't listen to anymore.
Okay.
I just watch enough races with him.
Is it
on
Crofty?
you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so British, and it's just I don't know. It just that's the way it goes. It's just there's only so long in it,
Yeah.
and that goes not just for announcing. It goes for we just touched on it. You know, how long can you do something for such a level without
Until it wears off, man. I mean, like I said, I'm the shiny new toy now, and eventually I won't be, and people will get sick of me, and then I'll make the call at that point.
What are you going to do then?
I don't know. Sell
There'll be
hats.
another championship then.
I'll sell
you
hats.
can move on to sell hats. Your hats will be everywhere then.
Oh, it's great. There's a few out in the crowd in Mondello.
Was there?
Yeah, we sell them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's good. Good for you.
People support it, so it's weird, but it's fine.
It is weird,
take it.
yeah.
It is
It's a
weird.
good one, though. I like it. It's good, it gives you a character,
It's-
doesn't it?
it's
And
a-
it's something you can take off and maybe just change persons,
Yeah, that's it. If I have to run to the bathroom and it's across the crowd, is take it off and walk
Just
through.
pee in your hat, put it back on.
Could, yeah, could. Although I have put ice water in it before on really hot days and put it back on.
I'm sure you have, yeah. It
You
gets
gotta-
hot. I'm sure it gets too hot in that
I should
thing.
I should make a cool suit hat where you just run the tubes through and you wear a little backpack with some ice in it.
Do it.
I might. Don't tempt me with a good time.
Do it. You don't need it over here. You need
No.
you need a hot hat over here a lot of the time.
Yeah. No, I mean, Florida, even we've got St. Louis coming up. That's going to be, it's for some reason, it's always hot, which makes no sense.
And Long Beach too, which is going to be interesting.
It was pretty chilly. Long
No,
Beach
but
2
Long
will
Beach
be
number
hot.
2.
Yeah. Because Irwindale's usually pretty hot. So it's around the same time. So
That'll be interesting. I wonder what that's going to be like. Long Beach too.
I don't know. I know there's some, I don't know when this is coming out or how much I can talk about, but there's some interesting things going on with modeling the track where there's enough 3D scans available and people who can build things virtually. So I think there's going to be a bit more development that the general premise that you see in that animated video is the same, but the actual practicality and how it will go, I think is going to change a little bit.
Do you agree with me in I think drift track should be decelerating? So there should never be re-accelerating in a drift track. That you should have the slow corner should be the last corner and it should be kind of building up to the climax of the slow corner.
Yeah.
It's like old school Irwindale.
Yeah.
I think they ruined Irwindale by making the inside wall an absolute drag for the whole length of it. Do you remember the old D1 days or early FD days where we flicked the car in almost silence into the last wall and brushed along it and then went into a sharp
And that was
turn?
kind of it. Yep.
Well, yeah, and then it became the right again, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it had a kind of a focal point, a crash point,
Yeah.
a tandem point, so to speak, a dive
A
point.
spot to, suck in. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas any track I feel like where you might have high speed, you go down to a tight corner, then there's a big drag.
You mean Atlanta?
pull.
That's how Atlanta is.
does work though.
Yeah, because you're going downhill.
Yeah, it
so
does work.
You're not having to dig out.
But
You get a
Atlanta's
little-
deceleration thing is kind of the top, and
Yeah.
then the rest of it is a bit
And
of
then
a
it
constant.
accelerates-
It's a bit of a
it
constant
accelerates.
speed, I think.
Yeah,
If you look at Spain this year, where you had a massive drag, a decel, then full throttle again, it becomes
I agree. I think
difficult
that's an
to.
issue. I also think that, and this is a Robbie Nishida thing that's rubbed off on me, that there should be as few inside clips as possible. It should be as many outside zones because that is what makes for good tandem.
I see Tsuchiya did an interview recently that said the opposite.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, he
Interesting.
did one that said the opposite. He said drifting was about the racing line. And he
Oh,
doesn't like the way it's all on the outside of corners. No, it should be back to the racing line, is what he said.
I think when you had very little angle and low horsepower cars, I agree.
Maybe so.
But I
Well,
don't think that's the case now.
I do think an inside clip could help here and there. I don't think it all has to be outsides.
I think it is meant to set up an outside zone and to force a driver to take the correct line towards an outside zone. That's how I see it. But the issue is you'll always have somebody cutting off. What I would like to see, I've talked about it before, is get rid of outside zones and have an inside zone that is offset. So you take an outside zone, right? And then you offset it inside the track by whatever, 3 meters. And then you have your front wheels need to go through that zone because now you remove the issue of overhang cars having an advantage. It's easier to see what is going on because there's no smoke there.
Does a short car doesn't come near the wall, then
Yeah. So
GT86, worst drift car in the world.
yeah, exactly. So there's going to be an advantage. The advantage that a car with a longer rear end, like a Chaser or something, has is completely negated. And cars that have a massive disadvantage, like the 86 or the new Supra, or even Corvette, where if you go into the wall just a little bit too much, the car's totaled.
Well, again,
Right.
that's been there since the dawn of time. So I had the Saturn Sky and Reese had the Solstice.
Solstice, yeah.
And we'd no overhang and we were in the marbles constantly and kept complaining.
And this is what
But
I'm saying.
We didn't complain on tracks where it benefited us.
Right.
Where we got away with murder.
Right.
So last corner in Irwindale,
Yeah.
2011, I think, or something, I put 3 guys into the wall trying to chase me into the wall.
Yeah, you just
And
you drag them
totaled
into
them.
deep water.
Yeah, totaled them, and they were longer than me, and they went for my door, and all of a sudden they were wrecked. So
That's what happened with James and Freddie in Long Beach.
that argument can be very one-sided. The guys with overhang are always giving out in the track where it bites them, but they never give out in the track where it benefits them.
Yeah, I think this completely negates it on both levels. Like
I do think you need a wall run though. So if it takes the short overhang guy, he needs to be out of the inside zone or whatever to get up on the wall. Yeah, I see where you're going. It stops painting the tracks all day as well.
It stops that issue as well. Where I could see it is like a track where you maybe don't have a wall or there's a big runoff, and they're not running. You don't want them running the edge of the track because we have a habit of telling them to like, oh, we'll just move the zone back, and it doesn't matter. You blow off the track, you're gone. Where you're now focused on exactly where it is. It's right near the driver. I think you're going to find that the people will fill the zones more. It'll take a little bit of work to get your head around it, but it's basically just a big inside zone instead of an inside clip, which are almost always like just a quick hit and gone.
What I always wanted was, and this is really basic and going back a long time, but what I always wanted was 7 clips.
Okay.
We'll say 10 points a clip.
Oh, okay.
And the clip lights up if you get it, or it doesn't light up if you don't.
Yeah, you're just going to break the shit out of them.
No, you're not. You can have the light off track and it lights it back from the clip or whatever.
Yeah.
So through the box like we have now. And
how does that trigger though?
I would trigger it manually because proximity has never worked.
Right.
So I would trigger it manually from the tower with someone that's doing whatever. And the judges on replay, if it is judged on replay, which a lot is now, can turn it off if they say you didn't get it or
upon further review.
Upon further review. So that would give you 70 and that leaves 30 for the judges.
Okay.
Which gives you 100 points. And that's one thing that I came up with back in the day to make it visual and make it so you could watch the event and not need to be an expert to enjoy it. So obviously, if you don't speak English, we'll say, for an English speaking event, and you turn on the TV, you're like, oh, he went there and he lights up the light. Instantly explained. Also, in the tandem, the lead car must light up to 7 lights. It becomes so simple for the lead car to fulfill his obligations. If he misses a light, he's in huge trouble of not getting his points and leaves himself wide open to lose because it's not a perfect chaseable lead.
So if you have like let's say a big outside zone, would you then have 3 separate lights?
No, I'd have one at the start, one at the end. And the 30 is up to the judges then. If this guy goes here, beelines it for the other one, I'd give him no points of your 30. It also takes it away, and what I wanted at that time was a celebrity judge for the crowd. And then you had 2 judges at the time, you had 3. You had 2 with 60 points available or whatever. And you had 1 guy who was a celebrity or whatever you wanted to be. It could be Mad Mike, who people would love to go and see. He still knows what he's looking at. He's still able to judge it, and they have a say on it. It's not the be all and end all. Everyone, if you got 7 clips, you're going to get 70 and you're going to get 20 something. Everyone's going to end up a bit old school D1 99 to 95 or 92, which
or 106.
Yeah, you can't do that. But something that became more of a show and became visual, and you could have a personality at it that ended up with some authority, but nothing that was going to sway the event either way or whatever. And it became more of a show for the public. Very D1-ish, having the judges being involved with the crowd and being announcers and having the judges be the personalities and they would feed off of the crowd feeds off of them, and Suchia holding up the thing for the one more time. You remember all these? Yeah. And I think that has been the most entertaining model if we look back at it. I still think it has, for crowd reaction towards the judges or crowd involvement without drifting on track, and actually having people that you can feed off that are the crowd want to know what they're doing, or they're always screwing around. Those guys weren't. They were hilarious. We didn't know what we didn't know what they were saying, but we were still laughing at them.
It was 80% yelling.
And it was a great show, and they exported that model without speaking English to us, and we thought it was brilliant, and we fell in love with it. From across the world. Like, that was a great show, and I think we could do something like that. As we've touched on loads of times, we were too caught in the technicalities. Something visual like that your family member
Could just
and not
watch.
argue you only lit up 5 points. You
Yeah.
haven't a leg to stand on here. You know, all of a sudden, half of the disagreements might not be so big, you know, or whatever. I think, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't disagree with it. Yeah. I don't know. It's tough.
It is.
I don't disagree with it. I think
There's no magic formula. I'm not
no,
saying, you know,
no.
there
If there
is
was,
no-
we'd probably already be doing it.
Yeah,
Or you'd
there's-
be running your own events.
I mean, D1 went away from it and went electronics, you know,
Yeah.
so it's up to whoever has the power at the time to make the decisions. But I'm not sure right now is right, you know. I know we're in a good place or whatever, but just I do believe it's more for the casual supporter, fan, family.
Yeah.
You know, I do think it's
Yeah, my grandpa needs to be able to watch it and understand what's going on.
Yeah, I would.
And if it takes more than
I would like that.
2 sentences to explain, then it's too much.
It's a disaster. Yeah, it's never going to capture it's never going to get them to cheer for someone or.
My typical line is the lead car is driving around the track trying to hit as many boxes as he can, and the chase car is trying to get as close to him without touching him as possible.
The moving clipping point was the
Right.
famous FD one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's how I explain drifting to people who have no idea, and that's what I've whittled it down to is the most basic terms. And then I just say, and then they do one, and then they swap,
Then they swap,
and then
yeah.
whoever did a better job overall moves on.
Do you agree with one more times and 5-minute rules? And I know you work for both series now, so
Yeah,
you can't
yeah.
stay on the fence all podcast.
I think I can't until the end. I can't until contract negotiations are over. I do like 5-minute timeouts. I really do.
I don't.
How that time is being filled, I think, could be done differently. I would like to see more technical. I would like there to be like sub show in the same way that once again F1 does it, where they will have like the technical breakdown of like either the cars or what's going on with the rules and stuff like that, where they have some sort of presenter or somebody, even if it's a pre-recorded thing that comes up and explains something about the sport to make the casual fan more intelligent towards the sport. That is something I would like to see in both series. We have a captive audience. Let's teach them as much about our sport in the most entertaining way we can.
What about competition timeouts?
But I think that's necessary because
Same
there's way too many. I mean that like that time being filled, I would like it to be filled with something that is informative that teaches somebody. So I agree that competition timeout should happen because I think there's a couple of situations where there's massive injustices where.
But then you just disqualify the driver that made the injustice. It would be my take on it.
But then now you've got a situation where there are times where it's very difficult to decide.
True.
So having like equal fault in things where you both get time to be able to fix the car works for me. I think there's a few occasions where it does drag on and makes it very difficult, and unfortunately, it's almost always at the end of the event. So that's where it becomes tough. Is like when you feel the competition timeouts the most affected is usually at the end of the event because that is when it's the most critical. So I think I would just like that time filled building up and like getting the hype going and stuff like that, as opposed to maybe switching to a commercial, because I think that just kills some of the momentum you get going, especially when you get into the finals. So to me, I think competition timeouts, that 5 minutes should stay because I would rather I think there's a story into getting a car fixed.
There is.
As long as it's documented correctly, the cameras are there, Lorette's there, whoever's there.
The best
talking
one
about
I've
it.
seen was the Irish series during the Dave Egan years. And they had the 5-minute rule and the car went back and the camera, no, with small tracks, it's much easier
Yeah.
as well. But mainly because everything in the pits was fixed by John Shanahan with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
If
Or
it was
tilt the car up on its side.
If it was
with
an
the
oil
wheel.
leak, sledgehammer. If it was a wheel, sledgehammer. And it was so entertaining. You almost couldn't wait for it to, just because of one lunatic. So maybe he can go to FD and fix the cars. But
It'd be good. You get a timeout, but it has to be John Shanahan doing it.
and they did the kind of marketing videos in between. I don't know if you've ever seen them.
No, I don't think so.
They're brilliant. I might show them to you when this is over. But they did like the Shanahans owned the petrol station at the time. So they did. An ordinary person pulled into the petrol station for gas, and he jacked up the car and hit it with a sledge and everything, and then started shouting that it's okay and left the jack down, and they drove out. They were brilliant. It was it Heroes for the Weekend or something they called it? But it was
gosh.
class. It was really well done.
That's
you know,
funny.
Drift Games do a great job media wise.
Yeah,
it
they're
was the start of that, and they just captured it so perfect. And that was I think Irish drifting has never recovered, actually. No, it's never. Let me finish the sentence, because it's never recovered from how good a job that they did when they left.
Right.
It blew into something. We had the Celtic Tiger here, as we call it, when the economy was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then when it collapsed, loads of people lost their jobs. You know, it was known as the boom time, the Celtic Tiger, you know,
Yeah.
and Drift Games IDC at the time was kind of like that. It became so ridiculous, and we had Daigo and all these people over, and Luke Vink versus Jack Shanahan was just
wild.
Irish viewers will remember that fondly, you know. And that was actually two characters headbutting and, you know, online dissing each other and all that, as you would say.
It was good.
It was excellent, and Irish drifting has struggled to come near a level of entertainment, and that was a pure entertainment model for casual viewers.
Yeah.
It was outstanding. I mean, you're talking huge events in a national series.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, but I don't think it was long-term sustainable. I think it was a bit mad, you know, for a national series to be so big and have so many invitation drivers, and it was getting really costly, I would imagine. I don't know. But certainly no one else has ever come close to those days. And what put us on the map big time, you know?
I just think Dave Egan is one of the greatest promoters the sport's ever had. And everything that team has done. It's not just Dave. Like, Dave's obviously a big face of it.
He does have a great team.
But if it wasn't for Cian and Josh and Davidus and everybody, I mean, I know I'm missing a ton of those guys, but like, if it wasn't for all of them, it wouldn't be that way. And they're doing the same thing for Drift Masters, and it shows. Yeah,
it is back to the lifestyle side of it. It is amazing that those people can come into a motorsport, if we are going to call it that.
Yeah.
From a total different view that you could come into any other motorsport. I don't think it's possibly ever been done, only in drifting.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah, where you have
the silly entertainment that doesn't seem derogatory. Because like Ian
this isn't serious all of a sudden in a motorsport, which is the most serious thing you could ever do between two teams, you know?
It was funny. Ian was freaking out. I don't know if you saw the promo where we put Ian in a leprechaun costume.
No, I didn't. Thank God.
He was freaking out because he's like, I'm going to get mobbed.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna carry me out of Mondello and beat me.
No, Ian's all right.
Yeah. I think he's.
And you mentioned Josh. Josh is mainly Irish now, I think.
I think so.
We plucked him from England. There's a few of those guys all right. They're okay. Ian, everyone likes Ian.
Yeah.
So until we get sick of his announcing, as we said. And then
you give him a couple more years. No, I was kidding.
Ian's a good guy. But yeah, no, they've done an amazing job in this sport. It's crazy how, you know, two different sides can be taken on the same sport. It's you've got the Shanahans, the Deans, as we said, you know, that's the total motorsport side.
Yeah.
And they're at the pinnacle competition-wise. But there's a couple of different ways to do this, you know?
Yeah. That's what makes drifting so great. And we talk about car setup and car and all this stuff. Like there's so many variables in our sport, and any of them can change at any time, and you can go in so many different directions. But at the end of the day, we still get two drivers on a racetrack, side by side at a ridiculous amount of speed, evaporating hard rubber tires.
Like Adam has done an amazing job. I mean, he's getting really competitive. Like
he's doing an incredible
really
job.
Competitive. Yeah.
And you get to see his entire journey from not knowing how to drift to now being world-class driver.
Yeah.
Right.
He's really going well.
He's in the running for a championship this year.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
It could easily happen for him.
It's crazy. And I have to admit, it's not something that I saw coming, really, do you know?
I think a lot of people didn't see it.
It's really been difficult for someone to take it from... I haven't seen someone take it from that kind of side, that casual side, to, you know, being in love with the sport, but then making themselves climb that ladder to be a certain level of competitiveness. It's almost unique, actually. I can't think of anyone else who's knocking on the door there regularly that hasn't come from a motorsport background or just a mindset of competition, we'll say.
Yeah.
James, massive motorsport background, but just focusing on drifting, you know?
Yeah.
But other guys come into it from other motorsports and they know motorsport and they know the car and the technicalities of it. But Adam is, he's really going on. He's learned an amazing amount in a short space of time. Yeah,
no, it's good to see. It's a good representation for the sport. It makes it more attainable. It brings in people that it may not have before. I mean,
he brings a huge audience to FD, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it does pretty well.
Yeah.
There's always a lineup at the booth.
Oh, I can imagine so.
Yeah, it does pretty well in merch sales, I would assume.
Oh, for sure.
So
for sure,
no, that's needed. You need to have all these different personalities. Going back, I think we need they call it a heel in wrestling, like the bad guy. I don't know why actually it's called a heel, but I'm sure someone could tell me. But I think you need that. You need like the big superstars. You need like the every town, like everyday guy driver that can come in and like, in a lot of ways, I think the Shanahans were that.
Basically, every wrestler that you've known, the different, Ric Flair and all these people.
Yeah, and you need that in drifting. I think professional wrestling is such a good representation of what you need to have a good show. You need
it's a fake entertainment,
Right.
Whereas drifting isn't the real motorsport; it is
Entertainment.
vehicular entertainment.
Yeah.
So therefore, we
It
must
works.
satisfy the fan first and foremost. We must satisfy the fan, and we must not get caught up in our technicalities of the sport because we're going to drag it down.
Fair.
That's
But
what
at the same time, I want the fans to be more more technically minded.
they'll come for the journey. If we get enough of them, we can do sub shows explaining everything, and the history of it and what way it went or whatever. But
Yeah.
I do think.
You don't think we're there yet to get that close?
Oh, we probably are, but I do think I'd like the main, as we said, I'd like the main show to be, right, we're going to sit down for an hour and a half and we're all going to enjoy this. It's going to be a wild ride. There's going to be people disqualified because we don't have time for them to fix their cars after someone running in. They're running into someone. They're going to get disqualified. People get disqualified from motorsport all the time. You can't run into someone and progress.
Yeah.
You must point the finger at someone. I do think drifting being more driver orientated a lot, especially in grassroots or small series, that it's for the drivers, therefore let's not upset them too much. You're very slow to disqualify someone. It'll always be
because you want to keep drivers coming in, but at the pro level it should be.
But even at grassroots, I think you need to whittle those people down anyway. If you make a better show, better people will come in. You just grin and bear it. You can't make a business in 1 year or whatever. You need to set your rules out for what am I going to do to increase my bums on seats. It must be for the crowd. If I'm going to upset a few drivers and they leave and go to another series or whatever, so be it.
Fair.
It happened back in Irish drifting one time when we first said you must run the wall. Lots of guys put their car in the trailer and went home. 10 years later, we the best drifters in the world, and we still do. And you won't convince me otherwise. An early model we set out many, many years ago of get out there, rub that wall. Get out there, rub that wall. Crashing cars, wrecking cars, getting the car back going, the camaraderie of it, everyone pitching in. You know that kind of.
Just weeded people out early.
And weeding people out sounds harsh, but it's like this is the direction we believe that it should go in. Watching D1, watching Arundel. You must be outside there. It must have jeopardy involved. It's not entertaining without the jeopardy of crashing. Half people watch NASCAR probably see him crash.
Well, that's what most people watch it for.
Yeah, so
that's what I watch NASCAR for.
We went on that path early and just look what it made.
Yeah.
I mean, and the boys are a product of it now, and I don't know what the next generation is going to be like because, we're probably lacking that superstar that we've just had a train of them.
Yeah, it's tough.
And at the moment, I'm not so sure. I think you see Harry Kerr.
That's who came to mind.
Outstanding
in a grassroots car, basically.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets a proper car under him, he'll be dangerous.
Yeah, you hope so.
Yeah,
you hope so.
At what point does that become boring for other people then as well? Like Drift Masters, being Irish, it's hard to get an entry. It's flooded with Irish possible entrants. I think Poland as well has a lot of the same problem. How many are you going to be willing to accept from one nation or whatever? FD is different. I think anyone could enter that.
Yeah.
But Drift Masters used to be the champion from everywhere.
Yeah.
Now they've caved into the more,
whoever. Well, the best of Europe. And if it happens to be there's 3 from Ireland or 4 or 5 from Ireland, then that's the case.
I wouldn't say the best of. I think it's the best of, plus it can be personalities now.
Yeah.
Whereas they started off not doing that. It was the best of the best.
Dave Egan, damn.
No, I mean, Dave is one. Adam is one when he came.
Yeah.
He got an entry into Poland wildcard or whatever.
Yeah, he still podium that year though.
Absolutely, but it was supposed to be criteria to it. A lot of people, maybe what I'm trying to say is a lot of people got rejected.
Right.
For having a good CV, maybe, and then it started to turn towards the show, which is totally correct. I'm not saying...
Yeah, that's fair.
It must be about the show, but you had... Ryusei was in it last year, and I don't know if he's won anything,
Yeah.
But he was part of a team that must be in it for the show, and it can... And there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
But it's a difficult one, to... If you don't qualify multiple times, all of a sudden you do get under pressure, and then that creates more mistakes and more issues. So to keep your place, if you must have a certain level that
Yeah.
it must be, which is the tricky one. But you know, like the likes of Adam was way at that level now. But at the start, I don't think
It didn't look.
at Driftmasters material. I
It
don't
didn't
think,
look great in the beginning,
or even
It-
FD materials. You know, in the Mustang,
Yeah.
I think he struggled.
Oh, that year
early.
was brutal. I mean,
Oh.
it took until New Jersey before he did quite well in it.
And people are very quick to jump on your back too. And you know, we mentioned Hero.
Yeah.
It takes time. The tracks, even traveling. You know, and
that's
feeling comfortable somewhere when you get there, and
the food, upset
food,
stomachs,
everything. Yeah,
delays
there's
in
a
flights.
whole lot behind it. We all watch from afar at the driver performance level, you know, but off track, it's a million things going on, and it's a whole weekend for someone.
Yeah,
It's not
Vaughn
just-
put it best that driving is the reward for all the work you put in to get here.
True.
Like, it's the driving's the best part.
True.
Everything
And we're
else
all
is-
different personalities, and you know,
Yeah.
being in different places and far away and new people, and you know, there's a lot behind it. Unless you have a team that you gel with, not going to get the great performance out of you.
Yeah.
Be it for whatever reason, but it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. You see it all the time with soccer clubs or whatever. You know, moves don't work out for no reason. You can have all the talent in the world, and they don't work out.
Or sometimes they work out incredibly well. I mean, there's it took a little bit for Chelsea to get locked into RTR, but when he did, it was
James?
nuts. Yeah, it took James a year
Took James
to,
here.
to really get in.
Tough year, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's taking Turk a little bit of time to really get dialed in. Simon Olsen was the opposite. Like, went to Odie, crushed it. At one point, was in the running for a championship.
Was, yeah.
A guy that, you know, was struggling to even get at a top 32, gets into Odie's car, and next thing you know,
Frederick
he's
is back
Yeah.
on a massive...
He's on a tear.
He's on a massive
He's on
level.
a massive tear right now.
And he's been missing for a couple of years big time,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
He's been there.
yeah.
But-
Just not in the conversation.
No, he's not in the conversation, no.
Yeah.
Like in the
But now
James.
it's like
Oh, now he's...
this
he's
could be
driving
another year for
so
him.
well, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's,
well.
It's tough. There's so much that changes. I think mentally, you know.
You look at James's Worthouse years where it was a certain level of performance and that dropped off as well.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
In the final year, yeah.
the final year was a struggle to win the championship, but
It was, yeah.
I mean, whereas the first year he kind of won it handily. I mean, there's I think the documentary covers that quite well. It's a really good documentary. But that was I mean, there was some fingers pointed in that I don't know. I think it was good entertainment. I don't know how much of it was real, but
I actually never watched it, would you
you
believe?
really should.
I didn't watch it, would you believe it? I don't know why. I know I'm in it and I might point a finger in it.
You might have.
I might have. But once again, that was over there, actually. I do remember filming it.
Yeah.
But once again, it's entertainment.
That's why I wanted it on the podcast.
It's
You point
entertainment.
fingers.
If you point a finger, what about it? You know, it's there to be...
Good crack.
Again, yeah. If you do a documentary about that kind of thing, you must point a finger. Like, you can't
Yeah.
just be sitting on the fence and be happy with everyone, you know?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at fence sitting.
You don't have an option right now.
No, I don't.
But you know, I don't remember what I said on it, but like I'm great friends with Peter, met him at the weekend, you know, then certainly, you know, it is about the show.
Yeah.
So if something has to be said, you're back to the heel.
Yeah.
If something has to be said, then
So-
for the crowd, then say it.
Come back to pro drifting. Be the heel. Be
And
the
at
bad
the
guy.
thing, I don't know about being the heel.
I mean, you
I
got a
don't-
lot. You got a business now too.
No,
so
that's
it's like,
that's a young guy's thing to be the heel. you
old
know.
grouchy man.
Yeah,
No
old
offense.
grouchy man, maybe, but no,
Not that
you got a
old
business.
grouchy
You
man.
got to be happy. You got to be nice.
That's
to
the other
everyone,
part.
don't you?
Yeah. I mean, if you got a business, there's some politics in that too.
You're
You got to.
relying on everybody. But,
Yeah. Exactly.
no, we got a good thing going on here. It's going good. So
No, it's awesome. Super cool to see the cars in here. I mean, for me, it's cool to be in here.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I mean, 86 up there, trophies up there. Like, you know, it's you see it every day. Even when I was at the Shanahan's, like I saw Connor's one of Connor's cars just sitting on top of a crate up next to the shop, and Jack's buried
unfortunately,
underneath the stuff.
you take them for granted.
Yeah.
You know, when you got a one of one S1 there, you put a cover off and walk past it. You know.
Well, we literally cleaned this thing off before this blew the dust off it.
Clean
But for people like me, like the hyper fan, the people that are, you know, watching this thing get built, watching Connor and Jack come up or win championships, or seeing some of, you know, going back and rewatching to see some of those trophies being won and stuff like that. For me, it's cool that all this stuff still exists. There will be one day where there's like a drifting museum, and there's actually a guy right now that's buying a bunch of old pro
D1
cars.
in America, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, D1 and FD cars. He's got a couple of them, and to me that's cool. I hope that like That doesn't get thrown out. That doesn't get thrown out. Maybe one day it'll get scrapped because you'll just get sick of it being there. But
That's going to be put back to its original blue-purple color, you know?
that'd be cool.
The first color.
Yeah. But
That's the
that's
plan with
necessary. We can't get rid of
Well,
the
that's
history.
that's Ireland's first purpose-built drift car
Yeah.
in Ireland. Like, you know, so we were,
Wild.
at the time, most people were importing cars from Japan and
Yeah.
drove it, and it either drifted or it was crap.
Yeah.
And because we were importing Japanese cars that time by the thousands.
Yeah.
And that was the boom time. We had Japanese import sellers everywhere. Every guy who could walk was a Japanese import seller. It was crazy. The port was ridiculous. And we have more Japanese cars, some of them than Japan probably right now. And yeah, the prices went mad and everything, but we got lots of them. So, but that was the first, that's a UK car. So it's
Okay.
originally sold in the UK, and it was the first car converted to a drift car in this country. So it is a little piece of,
It is history.
yeah,
It
it is
is
a little piece.
history.
And there's a lot of the original parts still there to go back on it. So
That's cool.
it will look right when it's done, and I will never have time to do it. So it's just the way it goes. It's just, yeah.
That's how it is. It's weird. When you're young, you don't have the money, but you have all the time. And then as you get older, you have the money, but not the time. Yeah.
Time is a cruel mistress.
Yep.
It goes by very quickly.
Very quickly.
And then you're, you know,
And as you get older, it seems to go by faster.
big time, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. And if only you were as wise as you are now when it was all happening.
Yeah.
But
But youth is wasted on the young.
somewhat, yeah.
Right.
But, you know, I wouldn't go back either, you know.
Yeah,
It's
you wouldn't
just-
change it?
No. I wouldn't change it. If I, you know, it'd be nice to win a championship, but
Still
it's
time.
not something, you know, think of or whatever, you know.
There's
It's
still
just-
time. You can
It's
do
the
it.
only championship that I've entered that I haven't won.
Really?
So that is the kicker, you know, so the whole way down through everything from 11 years of age. So I did win everything and never crossed that hurdle.
Just come back.
It's financially too stressful.
Yeah.
There's too much work in it for no reward. Not that I'm trying to make money out of it, but you can't relax enough to get peak performance, you know?
yeah.
You can't compete. You have to almost live there and put your whole thing into it. I don't think there's unbelievable teams in it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's even great teams in it, to be honest. There's one or two really good teams in it. But, you know, to be at that level, competitive-wise, is not that difficult. But to devote the time into persuading people to be part of your program and to put the effort in
To show up and
to
put in the
that,
effort.
yeah, you'll put so much time into it that you have to sacrifice something, you know.
Yeah.
Because in 2014 or whatever it was, I had the choice I could have kept going, you know, with my own team, and I decided not to and focus on this. But I think it was the right decision for me. I look at, you know, the likes of Di and Justin, who were my teammates at the time, and we were all up there in that top bracket fighting the whole time.
Yeah.
And they kept on with their program, and it didn't work out for them, you know. They were having to do everything themselves that we didn't do, so we weren't used to it. They had to put so much time into it. They never saw the same success again. They were one blown motor away from a crisis, you know.
Yeah.
All this stuff that we took for granted, you know. If I put the thing in the wall, not that I didn't care, but, you know, I wasn't paying for it.
Yeah.
But if I didn't hit the wall, I was being paid to push the car's performance, you know, so things are going to happen. There was never anyone giving out that you were crashing or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there was one point in my career where they were probably giving out that I was crashing. When I was the first or second year of the Sky, I really took a wreckers or checkers approach. I love that saying. And I did a lot of damage, you know. But I was rough around the edges and I was spectacular. But at the time, I think I progressed things a lot by
Yeah.
driving that way.
Because you did.
Yeah, and not
Yeah.
only my program, but I might have helped other programs as well with driving that way. I would have gone out and everyone was handbraking into the bank, and I'd be like, "Can I clutch kick in there?" You know, and go faster, and I remember doing it in wall and clutch kicking into the bank and wall, and it was a fine line, and it worked, but until it didn't, you know,
And then it really
and
doesn't.
I ripped the thing asunder on one of the runs, you know. But and I remember those times. I don't remember the times that I was clinical, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So you do remember those moments, and I won't forget it. But I remember doing the next run then, and there was like 4 inches of toe in one wheel because the back was hanging off. This one was straight, and still drove it, and it was sweet. But they're the times that, you know, to drive like that was when you feel most alive. You know.
Yeah.
As soon as I think I started to pull myself back because of external pressure, not that there was loads of external pressure, but the spotter or whatever, you know. As soon as you started to be tamed a little bit, you lost that edge that got you there in the first place, that little bit of magic. And then you started points racing. I could see it a million times over in Chelsea the Nofa with RTR. He just wanted to go out and just go bananas. And they kept pulling him back to points racing. Come on, we need the points race, Like, on a bad day, get a fifth, you know?
Yeah.
Put some points. Whereas on a bad day, he'd be in the weeds or upside down, you know, and getting nothing. And that's, you know, that's the way he wanted to drive. And I think maybe he got out of it as well because he just couldn't deal with that, you know, big team thing where...
It's tough to win a championship in a way you don't want to.
Maybe, yeah. Well, you just get a person, like when I was driving and Chelsea was driving his own car, that thing was wrecked every event.
Yeah.
Like everything was broken.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Engines, whatever.
Which isn't fun either.
No.
You know, that's not the fun model either, but it's just your flamboyant style that might get you a following, like Forrest Wang or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not going to win you the championship.
Yeah.
You know, most of the time.
Yeah.
I do think Chelsea pegged it back an awful lot to win that championship.
Yeah,
especially towards mid to end season. I think something switched there big time.
I think once he realized he was in the race, and he was like, maybe like, hey, you have to have one spectacular event and then 3 good events, and you've got this.
I remember speaking to him in Mandello and just talking to him from my perspective, being gone, you know, and he was at that point leading it. It was halfway through the year.
Yeah.
Don't know what Mandello event it was, LZ or something.
Oh, it could have been, yeah.
And he was there and he was on about, you know, his driving style or whatever, and he's not going to change it or whatever. And I was like, just change it, whether he listened to me or not, probably not. But I was like, just change it and win the championship, and after that, just go, man.
Do whatever you want.
Because don't look back on it like I do and say, oh, you know, maybe I could have won that if I changed this, changed that, you know. And I said, do it. Put your name up there with Hubinet, Faust, Millen, Dean, Forsberg, Gittin, whatever.
Yeah.
Put your name on the thing forevermore. And I said, the following year, just blow the back axle off the car every event. You know, just go back to being you.
It's kind of what he did.
It is kind of what he did.
Yeah.
I don't know if he took it on board or whatever, but that I think he made that decision himself. I'm not saying I made it, but he made the right decision just to achieve it. Because it was there for the taking, really, the way the year went.
Yeah, it was the right year.
It was there for the taking, yeah, and he took it, fair play to him, and then he left, which was surprising. But
he left before he won the championship. That's the crazy part. He said he was leaving no matter what at that point.
That reminds me of when the year I lost the championship in Irwindale, Falken sacked Tyler Maguire.
Yeah.
The week before or whatever.
Yeah.
And he came out and drove like an absolute lunatic.
Because he had nothing to lose. He already lost it.
And won the event.
Yeah.
And I was 2 battles away from winning the championship. I forget. I think, did Dye win the championship?
I think so, that year.
And I was 2 battles away from it. And Tyler beat me in the top 4. I was like, oh, I'm not sure I can forgive you for motivating him to win. Like, I think that's quite a bad move. With myself, JTP, and Dye going for the championship. Yeah, I guess. Look, one of us was going to win, so it didn't matter to them maybe. But like, I was like, oh, I'm not sure I can forgive this. Yeah, motivating another guy. Tyler, brilliant driver.
Oh yeah, great driver.
Great guy.
Yeah. Another lunatic though.
He was having an off season. Yep. We've all had him, do you know? They decided not to keep him on, and I was like, oh, you just could have told him afterwards, you know. It's like, how do I say this nicely? And I didn't say anything. Yeah. I just bit my tongue and got on with it.
Almost.
Yeah, almost. Almost never milked a cow. That's what we say in Ireland.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah, because do you play horseshoes in Ireland?
Flick, like throwing?
Yeah, throw horseshoes.
Yeah.
Because you get a point if you get close to the pin. And then the joke is with hand grenades, you just have to be near whatever you're trying to hit.
Blow it up.
Yeah, so almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Yeah. Almost never milked a cow, though. That's a good one.
Almost never. Yeah, it's really rural Irish one.
I'm glad I get to exchange some catchphrases with you.
Yeah. I don't want this to be an almost podcast either, you know? It's
it's a podcast. I think I was actually just like starting to look at wrap it up. We're almost at 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Crazy how quick it goes.
What time is it?
I don't know. I didn't even see.
Local?
It's going to be past midnight.
Probably. Do you air the whole lot of this or do you cut it down?
No, I don't touch anything.
You don't touch it?
It's almost 1 a.m.
Makes it very easy for you.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we touched on everything.
I think so.
Just buy stuff from Group D. That's what he meant to say.
The ultimate plug at the end. That's
please.
so good.
Yes. I can go back drifting. If you buy enough stuff, I'll come and do FD. It's a shame they don't do wildcats, but at the same time, wildcats do cause a lot of upset.
Yeah, it caused a lot of problems. Caused a bunch of problems this weekend.
Did it?
Just having a bunch of wild cards come up and disrupt the points race a bunch.
Yeah, who did that?
I mean, Harry did pretty decent.
Harry was good.
Yeah. So, and then what was the other one? Another Irish driver. I can't remember how well he did, but I remember him hitting like 157K at initiation.
Was it Brady, no?
No. His name
I think it was Chris Brady, was it?
No, I don't think it was.
He went one more time with
Yeah, he still did well, but
I think.
I don't know. I like the idea of wild cards.
I do
wish
like
FT
the
would do it.
wildcat, especially the local ones. You know, when it works, the Finnish guys in Finland
Yeah.
and the Finnish fans are brilliant. You know,
Oh,
and
scary.
it really. I'm waiting for. There needs to be a wildcat that goes like all the way almost. You know, that would be top
nuts.
class.
That would be
entertainment.
perfect. That's entertainment.
That's the
that's
one.
the perfect story.
The
Some
underdog
kid-
is the story. Like
Yeah, if Harry would have won, that place would have
he's not
exploded.
going. No, there's no way he's going to win in his current car.
600 horsepower on
Oh, Tomas Kiley is
Tomas
unbelievable.
Kiley. That's it. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah. Tomas Kiley had the craziest, fastest initiation in practice and qualifying. I'm pretty sure that got beat later on, but I didn't check
His
the numbers.
qualifying run was insane.
Yeah.
I don't know the criteria. I wasn't at the drivers' briefings.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
I think he dipped
from
wheels
the
on the front. Was the
outside
issue?
is unbelievable to watch.
Yeah.
And his in-car camera. Did you see it?
No.
You must watch that run from inside.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a UFC fight inside the car. He's
Oh, he's-
kicking the living crap out of it. It is brilliant. Like he's got
Way to do it.
He's got so much talent. Excellent.
Yeah.
He would do real damage.
Yeah.
And then he got Jack, of course, and he got Jack in the battles, and he couldn't ask for a worse battle. The two guys straight away.
Yeah.
Someone had to lose, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas the two of them could go a long, long way.
And they're tied in the local series too, aren't they?
No,
They were tied for points right now.
no, that's Dwayne and Kerr.
Oh, that's it. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jack and.
I was like,
and-
yeah,
and
I knew two Irish drivers went at it, but yeah,
Yeah, Harry Kerr has been killing.
he's good. Yeah.
But there's no way he could have done all the way because his diff would probably just fall on
Yeah.
the ground. I mean, it's
Tomas Kiley took a few years off. He just came back, right?
yeah, he's been in and out a good bit.
Yeah.
So he's been in and out a good bit. He's never committed fully to a full season of Drift Masters or whatever. It's a
Yeah.
massive commitment. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Europe is even tougher than the USA. In the USA, is all one country. Yes, it's big. It's all one country. It's all one language. It's all one currency.
That's a good point.
Europe
You're not
is
dealing with
really-
exchanges and stuff like
It's
that.
difficult. You have different
Borders,
different
boats.
borders, different police, different rules.
Police.
God, yeah. You could be in jail in Germany, like
Yeah,
if
or
you
Sweden.
don't have a light in your trailer or something.
Yeah.
Like it is difficult. Europe. You've got water between countries. You've got to take ferries, multiple ferries. It's a tricky one. It's trickier than the US. If you could just get in and drive, we would love it. But it's still, though, different cultures and everything is probably nicer to go to. If you go to Spain, it feels like you're in a different world,
Yeah, it does.
As opposed to, well, I guess America is incredibly different from one place to the other.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say there's a huge difference between Florida and Seattle.
There is a huge difference between Florida and Seattle.
Barely. It's incredible. It's
Yeah.
even the same
Not
country.
even one sentence can do that justice, but they
Yeah.
are all American, though.
Yeah.
They are all
Yeah,
American.
they are. They definitely are.
But the Spanish are a total other language and a total other
Yeah,
people,
attitude, everything.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
Finnish are. Jesus,
That's a whole
where
other
did
can
they
of
come
worms.
from?
They
came
scare
from,
me. They really
came
scare
from
me.
space,
Yeah,
definitely.
they came from space.
They must have. They're just so. They're just. I don't know. Is there any other country that's similar to Finnish people? I don't think
I don't
there
think
is.
so.
But in their own way, they're spectacular.
Oh, they're great people. Love it.
All the rally drivers came from there. All the famous ones, and
Yeah.
all the
It's because
people
they're
that-
all insane.
Yeah, and everything is a forest.
Yeah.
Every road is a forest road.
Yeah.
So it's just like, as you said here with the guys.
Yeah.
It-
You're training every day.
Like
You
if I
to
go
work.
to James's house or if I go to Shannon's or whatever, like the road is pretty good tarmac rally stage.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
go. It's a good run.
So you can, I know from the guys, my teammates from back in the day, Die and all that, coming here to visit and you take them for a round and they think we're mental and we're just driving okay.
Yeah.
But you just don't get this left,
It's
right, up, down.
80 kilometers an hour on a single lane road. And that's the speed limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not.
I
you
know it's a suggestion. I've
It is the
experienced
legal
it.
speed limit, but I mean,
There's no
it's
cops
so
out here.
narrow that
No Garda.
who's
yeah.
going to be parked at the side of the road taking your speed? That's
Yeah.
for the big roads. But
Anyways, allegedly. All right, dude. 3 hours. This is definitely up there for one of the longest podcasts. So
Okay.
I knew it was going to be a long one. I was warned.
Who said that?
Everyone I talked to about doing this podcast.
I'm saying nothing.
No.
I'm saying nothing.
Everyone, this place is like a black hole. You show up to grab one thing and you're here all night.
Yeah, the Shanahans and the Deans, they come over. Yeah, we could be here a while. But
that's good. Well, dude, thanks again.
Maybe
I appreciate it.
Thank
This
you.
is a ton of fun.
Good to see you.
Everyone, buy parts from Group D
Please.
and get them back over to the States.
Please do.
One day.